It's 6 o'clock, and with your news, I'm Harry Roy. The England and Durham cricket captain Ben Stokes says a masked gang burgled his County Durham home while his wife and children were there. Stokes has taken to Instagram to say that the incident occurred on the 17th of October when he was away on England's tour of Pakistan. He says jewellery, other valuables and a good deal of personal items were taken from his Castle Eden property. The 33-year-old added that his family did not come to any physical harm. Elsewhere tonight, the government has announced the scheme to dual the A1 in Northumberland will not go ahead. Madeleine Flack reports.
The previous Conservative administration gave the green light to the project to improve the stretch between Morpeth and Ellingham in May, having postponed it 3 times. However, documents published after the Chancellor's budget address to the House of Commons revealed the Department for Transport had deemed the scheme underfunded and unaffordable. The A1 dualling scheme was first raised more than 15 years ago and has already cost at least £67 million, although construction has not begun. A land agent for many of the farmers affected has told the BBC that the decision is absolutely heartbreaking for the county.
Earlier this afternoon, the Chancellor set out that budget, the government's first, which includes £40 billion worth of tax rises. VAT, income tax and employees' national insurance will remain the same. And Ms Reeves said the 5p cut to fuel duty introduced by the Conservatives would continue. But she says the Tories' freeze on personal income tax and national insurance thresholds will not be extended beyond 2027. The Chancellor also told the Commons Sunderland will receive millions of pounds of investment in a new film studio. The £450 million Crown Work Studios development is to be built in the city and is expected to create thousands of jobs in the creative industries. Now, an MP from County Durham has announced she's resigning as chair of a North East charity following pressure after voting to cut the winter fuel payment. Liz Twist, who represents Blaydon and Concert, has stepped down as chair of the Board of Trustees at Age UK Gateshead. In a meeting last night, she said she was walking away. It's after constituents called for her to resign after she voted with her party Labour to restrict the payments to the poorest pensioners. Parents of school children in County Durham are being offered additional ways to protect their children from flu this winter. Nasal vaccination clinics are available for all 2 to 3-year-olds in 29 nurseries, totally free of charge. The new initiative aims to make it quicker and easier for families to get their children protected without the need to book a GP appointment. Councillor Chris Hurd is from Durham County Council and has been explaining the benefits.
The fact that it's within the community setting and it's in a place that isn't daunting to both families but more importantly the children, that means that more and more children will be able to access, which will then have benefits not only to themselves but to the wider community.
And around 600 pieces of Star Wars memorabilia have sold for more than £177,000 at an auction down in Stockton-on-Tees. A rare vinyl caped Jawa figurine attracted the highest individual bid, fetching over £9,000 after fees. More than 1,000 people around the world placed bids, with tens of thousands of more watching online. That is your BBC Radio Newcastle News. I'm Harry Roy, and for an update at any time, ask your smart speaker to play BBC News for the North East.
Total Sport North East.
Call free 0800 234 6565.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
So, Southampton and Brentford edged through last night. There's a chance that by the time we go off air tonight, they will be among the lowest ranked sides left in this season's Carabao Cup. All of the big boys are still in the competition, so whoever wins the trophy this season will do it the hard way. Tonight, Newcastle United and Chelsea will renew hostilities with a place in the last 8 up for grabs. The teams one suspects will be much changed from those that locked horns at Stamford Bridge at the weekend.
It's Cole Palmer! Oh dear.
Enzo Maresca's men taking the 3 points on Sunday. Can the Magpies deliver revenge tonight, I wonder? What team changes will Eddie Howe make? Will it be like the Wimbledon game, or will he be taking the competition pretty seriously and fielding a strong side tonight? What do you reckon? How does he balance tonight's requirements with his team's Premier League schedule? Do give us a call. We will have team news around about 6:45. You can probably expect 11 Chelsea changes, but how big an obstacle will they be for the Magpies this evening? We'll talk Sunderland too. Barnsley will have the latest. You'll hear from Aaron Connolly, and former Black Cat Darren Williams is here at St James's Park with us. We'll round up everything else that you need to know locally and from the big wide sporting world, including an interview with the Newcastle Falcons gaffer Steve Diamond. We'll play that at half time, and you will have time to react to tonight's game after the final whistle has blown. We are on air until 10 o'clock for another cup night under the lights on Total Sport.
Total Sport North East.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
John Anderson, the former Newcastle United fullback, is next to me here at St James's. Hello, Ando.
Pridey, how are you?
It's a nice night for it, isn't it?
Lovely, yeah.
Bearing in mind, end of October.
You wouldn't think it was the end of October, would you?
You wouldn't?
Oh, lovely.
So looking forward to a good game of football this evening. You've gone even more viral than you were before, by the way, with your just put it in the net thing.
Yeah, no.
It's been put over the top of basketball commentary now. People have been getting in touch with us.
Copyrighted it, shouldn't I?
You should have, every time that gets played around the world.
You should have had image rights.
Yeah, you should have had £1.
I'd be a millionaire.
£1 for every time that gets played. You would be. By now, I reckon. I mean, you probably would be, to be fair. So yeah, something went wrong there, and we should have. I could have been your age and got 1%, and then I'd be happy with that.
We slipped up.
Yeah, exactly. 0800 234 6565 is the phone number, by the way, if you want to have a chat to Ando this evening, and to Darren Williams, former Sunderland midfielder and defender, and I call him a utility man. I don't like doing that, Darren, but I always do, don't I?
Yeah, I was stuck with it. Wasn't out throughout my career. So
I know, we don't want to be stuck with it now.
No,
I don't know what else can I call you, because if I say defender, fullback, midfielder, it's just too much of a mouthful.
Yeah,
utility.
Yeah, no, he's stuck with that. He says no, something else. What else? What's a
all-rounder?
What's a all-rounder? All-round action here. I sometimes call him the Vieira Slayer because he did that, didn't you?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Some famous. Look that up on. If you haven't seen it, look it up on YouTube, and you can see Darren.
Yeah, it was vicious,
taming Patrick Vieira.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Indeed. He didn't like you much after that, did he?
No, he didn't actually. No. I went down to the FA on Monday actually because Arsene Wenger had pushed the fourth official over in the tunnel, so I had to go down there and say what I seen, type of thing. I was supposed to be accompanied by a manager of mine, but unfortunately he didn't.
You're all on your own.
Yeah, I was all on my own.
Good luck, son.
Yeah, Vieira, Adams.
Yeah.
Wenger. Oh, mate, it was
versus Williams.
Day. Yeah, brilliant.
Anyway, but yeah, what was the outcome?
He got one. I think it was a 1 or 2 match ban, and he got a fine.
Yeah.
So Peter Reid wasn't very happy because he thought he should have got longer.
Okay.
He blamed me for it.
Ander, what's your longest run in the League Cup? Can you remember?
It wasn't that long.
No. You get to the quarterfinals before?
No, I don't think so.
16?
No.
Darren, what about you? You got the semis, didn't you?
Semis of the FA Cup. I got.
Look at semis of the League Cup.
Semis of the League Cup as well against. I think it was Leicester, wasn't it?
Leicester.
Yeah.
I think that was when Sunderland were in the Championship. So yeah.
Yeah, it was.
But that was under Peter Reid, the aforementioned Peter Reid, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But
and ran them quite close as well.
Yeah, we did run them close. To be fair, and even in the FA Cup, we probably should have won that one against Millwall, but
yeah, of course, yeah, semis of that as well.
The reason was he left me on the bench. I think that's why.
What was he thinking?
Yeah.
What was he? That was Mick McCarthy. For that one, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
I remember back in the days where the League Cup was 2 legs.
Well, yes, not that long ago. There were early rounds that were 2 legs. Was it 2 legs all the way through? It wasn't 2 legs all the way through.
No, it wasn't all the way through.
It started 2 legs, and it was obviously a 2-legged semi-final as well. Nick Barnes can remember the days that the League Cup didn't even exist. Evening, Barnsley. How are you doing?
Good evening. They did. Hi, Ando and Darren. They did used to be 2-leg from the first round, and. Yes, I remember doing.
But not all the way through, though, was it? Or was it all the way through at one point?
Yeah, all the way through. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So back in the late mid-late 90s, it was definitely 2 legs from the first round onwards.
Nobody complained back then about players having too many games, did they?
But it had for all the complaints about the competition now, for the lower division clubs, then you were drawing sort of big clubs in the early rounds, and so that was a real draw, and it so that it had a bit of a cachet then. It was only when TV and the Premier League came, it all changed, and now they've had to give it a European spot, haven't they, to give it some sort of lustre, but it's a shame.
Back with you talking Sunderland shortly. Barnsley back in the studio this evening. If you want to send us a message, by the way, we do pick them up here at St James's. 08000 321 333. Start your WhatsApp with the letters BBC. I hope you heard that. 08000 321 333. Start BBC, and you can text 81333 again, beginning with those same 3 letters BBC. Matthew Raisbeck, our Newcastle United commentator, is here with us on this very mild night at St James's. Hello, Razor. How are you doing?
All right. Yes. Nice to be here. It's a huge match. It's a huge week. Of the 2 against Chelsea, if there's one that I think they need to win, I wouldn't say want to win more.
Yeah.
It's got to be this one.
Really?
Yeah, it's got to be the Cup, because there's time to turn things around in the league, for league form, league results to improve. Maybe not at the weekend because it's Arsenal, although they did beat them last season. But the League Cup is hugely significant. After what they did 2 years ago, but also more generally, it is the best chance that a club outside of those, the richest clubs, or the ones that are used to having success, has.
Not necessarily this season, because all the big boys are still in, but I know what you're saying, because they'll still rest players, won't they?
Well, Chelsea, we think, will make a number of changes. It might not be 11 that they made for Europe last week, but it could be, because their squad is so deep and they've got lots of quality and young players as well. And Chelsea have kind of split it into two, with a Premier League squad and then a European and a Cup squad. Newcastle have got a few players out injured, but they will be going strong. Number one, they have to, because they need a result and ideally a performance, and there needs to be some positivity and some confidence coming back. But also, Eddie Howe's desperate to get through, and it will sustain them into the winter, the League Cup, and who knows what it could bring. I know what you're saying about other big clubs being in the draw, but it's a great opportunity for them. Much better here than if it was at Stamford Bridge like last season.
We will talk in a moment about what the team might be tonight, and I guess I'll probably make you tell us what you think the 1 to 11 will be. It's maybe quite tricky this evening, and before we come to that though, would you share Razor's sentiment in terms of the importance of tonight's match, perhaps in comparison even to the Premier League game at Chelsea at the weekend?
I think it's a massive game, I really do. We said before,
bigger than Sunday though.
Yeah.
You agree?
And I think even more so now, because we said before the Brighton game that it was a huge 3 weeks for the club. Starting with Brighton, we obviously lost there, then we had Chelsea, got beaten there, then you've got this, then you've got Arsenal at the weekend, then you got the Forest, so big games. But this is huge, because as Razor has said, it's a realistic opportunity of getting to a cup final. We did it 2 years ago. But it won't be easy tonight. You hope that he plays his European squad, which would mean that Palmer doesn't play, because he was exceptional at the weekend.
Yes.
To see the pass is one thing, but to then actually go and make that pass,
to deliver it, it had to be inch perfect, and it was.
It was unbelievable.
And he weighs in with the goal as well.
People having a go at Livramento saying he got done. I mean, it's an unbelievable.
I think most fullbacks would have been done by that.
Yeah, it just kills everybody.
Yes.
But yeah, tonight's it's a big game. I think Eddie Howe will go strong. I think if Gordon's fit, I think he will play.
Hang on, and we'll come to the team in a second. We are going to patience.
Write down your 1 to 11.
Make a note if you want to. We're going to hear a little bit from Eddie Howe, so you can make a start. Write your 1 to 11. Here's a pen. Write your 1 to 11 down.
I've got a pen.
All right, okay, you use your own pen, and we'll come to
2 and 3 pens.
I haven't got any paper though. That's the problem.
That's a problem. But look, I just think tonight is massive. If you were to lose tonight, it
would feel like an empty bit of a void up until the FA Cup begins, and a lot of onus would then be on the FA Cup. Okay,
very, very true.
Well, let's hear a bit from Eddie Howe. It is an important match. I think we're all agreed on that. But is it fair to describe it as season defining?
You can call it whatever you want. I've got no issue with that. I think from our side, look, we know every game's hugely important. Every game has a bearing on your season in terms of either momentum, feeling, emotions. We know we need a result. We know we need a performance. Ideally, both together. This will be a great time to do it from our perspective. We're at home. We've got 2 massive home games to come. I'd love to think that St James's Park will be absolutely rocking for both games. And we need the players to thrive in that environment.
So, if it's going down to squads, Razor, I mean, Chelsea have a big squad, and they might well utilise it all. You think, though, and Ando's now starting to write down his team, you think that Eddie Howe will go as strong as he can or close to that? Yeah,
I think so. In the last round here against AFC Wimbledon, he made 8 changes. I don't expect there to be 8 changes tonight. I don't think many people would. We're not expecting to see Callum Wilson because Eddie Howe ruled him out of this entire week, the 3 games. We're unsure about Anthony Gordon, whether he'll be involved because of the groin issue that he's had, and he's been for a scan, and Newcastle think it's okay, but Eddie Howe wouldn't say when he would be back. It's the midfield that interests me, because there's been a lot of discussion about it, and we talked to Eddie Howe yesterday about how the midfield is working during the pre-match press conference. He's got options to change midfield. He suggested that resting Bruno is a possibility because Bruno's played in the last year and a half so much football. He barely missed any Newcastle games last season. He's played in all of them this year as well. And then you've got Willock, Longstaff, Lewis Miley, who's back in the squad, who all want to play. And what about Sandro Tonali and whether they're getting the best out of him on the right of a midfield three? Would it be something that they could do to put him in the centre to change things around? Could Joelinton move to the left of the attack if there's no Gordon? It is moving players around, but he has the options to change things in midfield. I think that's perhaps where we could see something different tonight. Maybe Lloyd Kelly as well, because they struggled at centre back, and Chelsea's lineup will be different, won't it? But there could possibly be a change there because for the first 10-15 minutes in particular there were real issues in defence on Sunday.
What have you gone for, Ando?
I don't think he'll change the keeper, mind you. I'm not really positive on that, but I don't think he will.
So he'll keep Pope in goal. That would be a statement straight away that he's taking it very seriously.
Share, Kelly, Hall.
So you think Kelly might well come in there, yeah?
Longstaff, Tonali, Joelinton.
And how would those three, what would the shape of those three be then?
I think Tonali will start in the middle.
Yeah.
Joelinton on the left of him, Longstaff on the right of him.
Yeah.
Murphy on the right side, Isak and Gordon if Gordon's fit.
So
if Gordon's not fit, Barnes starts.
Yes. So no thinking about playing Asula or anyone else. It'll be Isak because he's the main man.
Yeah.
Murphy and Gordon probably is strongest either side.
Yeah. The Asula one's a really interesting one, because I feel so sorry for the boy because he came on against Brighton when it went into added on time, and then he came on at Chelsea when it went into added on time. I don't think the boy touched the ball. It's not really fair on him.
Yes.
And by what we've seen, he's had opportunities to bring Asula on in games. And he hasn't taken that opportunity. So. It just makes you think that he hasn't got a great deal of trust in him at this moment in time. He doesn't feel that he's at the level that he wants him to be. So I don't see Asula starting. Let you see.
Do you agree with Ando's starting 11? Get in touch tonight, 0800 234 6565. On the phone, message on WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Text 81333. Start your messages with the letters BBC. Somebody we might see tonight, 18-year-old midfielder Lewis Miley. He's been on the bench for Newcastle's last two matches after recovering from a broken foot.
Well, he's an outstanding player, and I think he's shown that coming back to training. You expect to see some rustiness from him technically or some physical development still to go. I think he's come back physically looking like a changed athlete, really. He looks a lot more solid and filled out, which naturally will happen as he gets older, but looks like he's used his time away from the training pitch really well. And technically he's been really, really good. So I've got no issue with his game. I think he looks in a really good place. It's just a case of managing. He's still very young. He's had a couple of injuries that have reflected on maybe we overused him last year, and we don't want him to get injured again. So I think small steps initially for Louis, but hopefully he can progress into playing some big minutes for us.
Yeah, so Lewis Miley maybe seeing some action this evening, and seeing him back on the pitch would be a good thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I said to Razor when we were at Chelsea at the weekend, watching the substitutes go through a warm-up and whatnot, he looks like he's filled out so much. He looks like he's spent an awful lot of time in the gym. I mean, he's 6 foot plus anyway, but he's really filled out. When he first broke in the team, he looked what he was, a boy. He looked lean and slim, but now he's grown into himself. There's no doubt about it. And you would like to think he would get game time tonight. I don't think he'll start him. I don't see him starting because he's been out such a long time. But it'd be nice if he could get some game time.
Speaking of lean and slim, Razor, you've just been watching some of the Chelsea players come out for just a little bit of a look around. Lots of headphones and hoods up and caps on. But one very recognisable player, someone that you mentioned who was influential at the weekend. I don't know whether he's going to start the game tonight, Cole Palmer, but there he is.
Yeah, he's here. He's part of the Chelsea squad tonight. other players out there include Ben Chilwell, who is pretty much out of favour. He's only played once this season. That was in the last round when they beat Barrow. Great player, but can't get in the Chelsea team or squad. He is in the 25-man Premier League squad, but he's not featuring. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, midfielder they signed from Leicester for 30 million. Levi Colwill is there, the defender. So, the rest of the Chelsea players haven't emerged from the tunnel yet, but they've got loads of quality. Even if they change 11 starters, their bench will be full of top talent. So it's going to be hard. They manage somehow, don't they, financially, to sign these players on big contracts for big money, spread it out over the cost of a long contract, but carry a huge squad. And they've got loads of players out on loan. Again, Newcastle are struggling within the financial rules and the framework that they have to operate in, whereas Chelsea just do things within the rules, but very differently.
Chelsea players out on the pitch in front of us then. Did anybody see Cole Palmer's interview on Match of the Day after the game at the weekend, or Match of the Day 2? He was giving one-word answers, two-word answers, wasn't he? I don't know what that... I mean, I'm trying to sort of work out his personality there, whether that was just him couldn't really be bothered, whether he just doesn't like doing interviews, whether he was just being a bit cheeky. I'm not sure.
Does his talking on the pitch, doesn't he?
He does,
yeah. To use the cliche, he is, but that's...
He made Guy Mowbray work hard, didn't he?
Yeah. I think that's what he's like. Look, a lot of footballers just aren't comfortable talking on camera or doing interviews. But
I don't think that's him, though. I don't know. I might be wrong.
Now.
He's got a glint in his eye. I just think he's messing around a little bit.
Yeah,
but,
we'll find out Friday.
I wish he'd mess about a bit more on the football pitch.
6:45 for the publication of the two teams, and we'll find out how Newcastle line up and also who's in the Chelsea 11.
Razor, thank you very much indeed. You're listening to Total Sport here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Newcastle's game against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, as Razor says, kicks off at 7:45 this evening. We will build up to it here on Total Sport. You will not miss a kick. I'll be back at half-time, so if you want to send messages during the first half, feel free to do that. I'll have a quick chat to Ando at half-time as well, and we will have time for you to react on the full-time whistle as well, because we're on air until 10 o'clock. So plenty of time for you to get involved at whatever stage during the course of the evening. We are nothing without your input, so get in touch tonight if you can, and we will talk Sunderland next. It's 6:22 now.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Big news in the northeast this morning. The Rothbury estate has been bought by a group of wildlife charities. And on the phone is Mike Pratt, the Chief Executive of Northumberland Wildlife Trust. This is exciting, isn't it, Mike?
Fantastic, isn't it? I'm absolutely bursting with excitement. I've got an empty champagne bottle on the table. It's fantastic. I mean, it's once in a generation. And I think we're just really fortunate that this massive opportunity is happening in Northumberland.
You can hear my full chat with Mike on BBC Sounds. If it's happening in the northeast, we're talking about it on your breakfast show. I'll see you tomorrow.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle.
And this is Total Sport on BBC Radio Newcastle. Simon Pride with Darren Williams here at St James's Park. Ando's gone off to get himself a snack. He's got a busy night ahead. Barnsley back in the studio as well. And I enjoyed having a couple of days off. I got bitten by a goose though, Darren.
Did you?
Yeah, in York.
Oh. I think I've been bitten by a goose.
Have you?
Yeah, I think it was in Centre Parks.
Have you been bitten by a goose in Centre Parks? Yeah.
I think it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I didn't provoke the goose. I don't know about you.
I probably did.
Never provoke a goose. Just waddled up to me, had a crack at me. I don't know. Have you ever been pecked by a bird, Barnsley?
No, not specifically by a bird. No.
Okay.
Answer correctly there, mate.
Yes. Okay. It could end up being a theme of the evening. If anyone has ever been bitten by anything from the avian world, do let us know, because it waddled up to me, had a bit of a look, decided, I'm going to have a crack there. Bang, 3 bites on the thigh, and then off it waddled again with a bit of a swagger in its step. So that was my highlight of my few days off. Anyway, do get in touch. Usual numbers with goose or otherwise stories. Barnsley, you have been chatting to Aaron Connolly, haven't you, the Sunderland striker?
Yes, and of course a week or two ago we heard his very emotional interview with the club about his lifestyle and his bid to get back on track following all his travails, and he is knuckled down. He's lost a lot of weight. He's in a very, very good condition. Regis Labrise has spoken a fair bit about how impressed he's been with Aaron Connolly and the work that he's done since he was signed on a free transfer because he left Hull City in the summer. And I asked him, how is he finding life in Sunderland?
It's been brilliant off the pitch. Obviously the boys are flying at the minute, winning games, a good vibe around the place. So it was a perfect time to come in. And I'm just trying to push as hard as I can to get into that starting 11. But Wilson's making it tough at the minute. So
what do you make of Wilson? I mean, he's a personality, for want of a better word.
Yeah, of course, and it's always good to have them in the changing room. He's a personality and he backs it up on the pitch. So he's flying. He's scoring goals, but I just got to keep pushing. Hopefully, I'm pushing him to be the best he can be, and he's pushing me. And then obviously you got Eliza as well. We're all pushing each other, and it can only benefit the team and the club. So.
Yeah, having Aaron Connolly at the club, that's changed the dynamic again. I mean, compared to last season, Darren, when none of the strikers could score goals, Mayenda started the season well, then got injured. Isidore's come in and carried on where Mayenda left off, perhaps even more impressively. And then you've got Connolly now knocking on the door too. That's a much healthier situation, isn't it?
It is. It's always nice to have goal scorers in your side, and options. I think for too long we went without options. It didn't particularly work, and now we've got 3 options and 3 really good options as well, and all bring a different side to the game as well.
And he's been talking, Barnsley, hasn't he, a bit more about the squad of players at Sunderland and the squad that he has joined.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very talented squad. We know that, and of course Aaron Connolly, back in the day when he was younger, signed for Brighton and Hove Albion in the Premier League, and he went in as a youngster. So he knows all about talent and what it's like to be around young players of that ilk.
I'm only 24, but in this changing room, I feel ancient. So it's nice to be able to be on the other end of. I'm usually the youngest in the changing room. I have been at Brighton. I've been a young one at Hull. I've been a young one at Middlesbrough. But now I've got people like Riggy, who's born in 2007. 8. I could be wrong there, but it's crazy to me that I thought I was young being born in 2000. But to have players like that, Job, hopefully I can help them as much as I can. I've had experience of playing at the highest level, and I'm sure they'll play at that same level. Hopefully for this football club, but it's nice to be able to help them type of players as well, and hopefully as the more I settle in, I can help them more.
That is scary, Darren, hearing a player who was born in 2000 saying he feels old.
It is, I know, it's crazy. You look at the squad and it is a very young squad, but it's a talented squad. There's a lot of great ability in there. We touched earlier on Bellingham, and Dan Neil. These 2 guys have come to the forefront, in the last so many games, and this season really. Bellingham's such a different player than he was last year. Last year there was probably an element of a lazy side to his game, but that's gone right out the window this year. Yeah. He's on the front foot. He's backtracking. I've seen him made a tackle, in the penalty area the other week.
Yes.
He's all over the pitch and he's covering so much ground. I think what we've got to be mindful of is that, as young players, you're running on adrenaline at times, and what we don't want to do is burn most of them out. I don't think that would be the case, because I think the way football's moved forward now, I think the medicine side of things are looking into different things. It is changed, but we do have quality in the side, and Aaron's come in. He's come in at 24. That's still young, but he's come in with a lot of experience. And like I say, having the 3 options up top, and with the quality that we've got in midfield it's encouraging.
I think when you were playing at Sunderland, I think recovery did involve intake of quite a lot of fluids.
Yes.
Under Peter Reid and Bobby Saxton, but maybe not the fluids that maybe made you recover that quickly. I don't
Definitely
know.
not the fluids that they would use today, but that was part and parcel of building the team as well. We had a great team spirit and great team morale.
Yeah.
We were probably full of spirits. That was probably the thing.
Yeah.
But the recovery was different. But again, it's the game's moved on. Let's be honest.
But you're right that you don't get any team bonding over a protein shake, do you?
No,
so the game's gone backwards.
Exactly.
Darren, it's gone backwards.
Yeah, totally.
Barnesy, so what else has Aaron Connolly been saying? I mean, I think he's been discussing also what Darren was saying earlier, about the fact that there are now a lot of different options up front.
Yeah, just on that, the protein drinks and everything. Dan Neil came in after the game on Saturday carrying a fruit drink, which is, back in the day it would have been a bottle of lager, wouldn't it? But
yeah, we'd have had the fruit drink taken off us.
Yes. You touched on it before. Last season, the issue, well, not just last season, you go back to, when Ross Stewart was sold, when he was injured before he was sold, playing without strikers. Now they've got this glut of strikers. They've got Meander, Isidore, Connolly and Rusin.
I've seen a lot of stuff saying that there's more strikers this year than they've had for a long time, so I've seen all that, but I think it can only benefit the team. Of course, every striker wants to come in and just be them at the football club, but then you've no competition, no one pushing you, and it doesn't benefit the team really. Like maybe when I was younger, I was selfish and I wanted to play every single game, which I still do now, but I'm realistic as well. I know that it's a squad effort if you want to get promoted out of this league. So yeah, like I said, I'll be patient. I've been through a lot of stuff over the last few months, so to be in and around it again is just, for now, I'll just keep pushing.
He certainly is coming at it bearing in mind his recent past, which he's been talking about openly, Darren. It's obviously changed his perspective a little bit, hasn't it? And hopefully that'll bring the best out of him.
Yeah, definitely. I think fair play to him for coming out, and doing the interview recently. It's a difficult thing to talk about. Let's be honest, and he's done that. He's got it off his chest. It seems like he's turned himself around. I mean, listen, I can go back to when he was at Brighton. He was a fantastic talent, and he still is. He's still got the capabilities in there. Now he's got himself fit. As Barnesy said, he's looking well. He's just going to have to be patient. And I think that's the thing now, and that's the key with the squad now, because the squad is so good. And you look at the bench, and you've got great backup. We've got 3 strikers. So for me, it's a case of being patient. You will get your opportunity, you will get your chance, and I'm sure when he does, he'll take it.
It's very much. A lot of people are comparing him to the situation that Patrick Roberts found himself in when he came to Sunderland. A little lost, a little bit directionless. And yes. Aaron Connolly has spoken about how he wants to live in Sunderland. He feels that he can lay down roots here. He feels that he can be part of this squad, and that's exactly what happened to Patrick Roberts. He found himself a family, if you like, and he's blossomed since that happened with him. And I think that's going to be the same with Aaron Connolly. He'll find himself with a very good, a squad that embraces him. He embraces the. I mean, he kept referring to it being a massive club. He was pinching himself. He said, I was in the gym the other day, and he said there were 4 people around me with Sunderland tattoos. He said it suddenly dawned on him just how massive a football club it is, and that he wants to stay here.
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah, the little things that just kind of trigger those realisations. Barnesy, another thing I wanted to talk to you about as well, the latest supporters collective meeting, well, it took place earlier this month, didn't it? But the minutes are now out. So what of interest have you picked out of that?
Right, the collective meeting was on the 10th of October. It's worth mentioning that the supporters collective is made up of the Red and White Army, the Branch Liaison Council and the Senior Supporters Association and the club's leadership team. It's worth mentioning here a couple of new names. You may have heard one of them before, Paul Kingsmore. He's been appointed Sunderland's new Chief Operating Officer. We spoke about his appointment when that was made earlier on this season. Of course, he'd been 5 years at Chelsea as Director of Operations before moving to Sunderland. He's in charge of facilities, safety and security, ticketing, HR, safeguarding and overall responsibility for matchday operations. And there's a new face now in charge of safety. That's Steve Wood. He's been at the club a long time, but he's now been promoted to head of safety because Steve Neal has left. He was a police officer. He worked for the National Coal Board. He started as a steward at the club, and as I say, is now head of safety. Now, there have been several areas that were raised over. It's interesting how time moves on, isn't it? Because the club's doing really well at the minute. The collective meeting, I think, was probably slightly less turbulent, shall we say, than one or two others that we've reported on over the last year or so. Food and beverages. David Bruce, of course, now head of marketing, he has been talking about the fact that there was a little bit of an issue about Vaux coming in, their Roca Raw beer, and there was a bit of a dispute because it meant that, you know, another brewer was sort of moved on. But David Bruce reported that the introduction of the Roca Raw, he says, has been a success, outselling the previous beer by 5-1. He also said there's been a positive uptake of 6 new food options introduced this season, and the additional click and collect service is now in place. And he's pointed out the aesthetics of some of the concourse bars have also been updated. So it was one area of discussion. Another was away ticketing. I know that's been an issue because I've had fans coming up to me and they weren't particularly happy about the introduction of a ballot. Now, after a brief discussion on the issues relating to away ticket allocation, including the introduction of that ballot, it was agreed to table this item until November the 7th, when more time will be given at the ticket working group model meeting. So there's clearly still some issues about balloting and the way forward in that respect. And on ticketing, Ticketmaster, that's been a bone of contention, I know, with a lot of fans over the last few seasons. The existing partnership with Ticketmaster ends next year, and Paul Kingsmore says they'll be looking at all options for the club from the 2025-26 season. And on non-digital ticketing, the club say they're happy to provide non-digital tickets for fans who need them, but intends to review procedures for other fans who may request non-digital tickets out of preference. So watch this space on that one. Now, there's an issue today that's been raised, or was an issue raised at the meeting, which has been seemingly slightly contentious because it's brought about quite a thread on social media, and that's about the early leavers. David Bruce raised the issue of fans leaving early, and he noted that
it comes up on this show all the time, doesn't it?
Does,
to be honest,
and noting that when national media talk about it, it hurts the club, and he says it's something they should all be working to address. Fans leaving takes energy from the stadium, and it's likely the team feel the impact of this. He concluded there's no one reason for people leaving early, but it does appear the habit of leaving early is developing. Now, I've seen lots of sort of responses to that today. And it's a bit of a mire. It's a bit of a difficult one because there are some very, very genuine and valid reasons for some people leaving early. I read one today about a fan who brings her elderly mother and her elderly mother takes a long, long time to walk to the car. The son has to get to his job on the other side of Castle Eden by 6 o'clock. It's a very valid reason for leaving early. So there will be lots of reasons. Generally, it seems, reading the comments, a lot of people do leave a little bit early to beat the traffic or get the early metros or whatever home. But it's clearly that is a contentious issue. The Red and White Army is going to survey members and the wider fan base on that whole issue by January 2025, and the club supported that action. So it'll be interesting to see what the consequences of the survey are and what they discover from that.
No, and we'll talk more about it, I'm sure, yes.
Wanted to mention the Memorial Garden, that's in front of the main stand. The club have confirmed there's been lots of issues about ashes being laid on the pitch. Of course, the pitch has been dug up and relaid. There's 105 families of fans whose ashes were laid at the pitch. The ashes have been safely stored, and they will be reinterred in a new memorial garden. It's going to be on the same site, but it's going to be greatly expanded. I've seen the plans for that, and you can see the plans on the minutes. It looks fantastic when that's finally built, and it will be a real landmark in front of the main stadium, and good work from the Heaven branch in getting that forward as well. The club also say that next year they'll be launching a fan panel. They hope that will enable them to get rapid fan feedback and try and deliver, improve and introduce everything that they feel is important to fans.
Okay, so lots that's come out of that.
So there's a lot in there. If you want to read them, they're all on the club website. There's a lot more besides, so that's sort of the nub of what's been discussed at the collective meeting.
The headlines, if you like.
The next will be in December.
Thank you very much indeed for bringing those to us. Barnsley back on the show tomorrow evening to tell us everything you need to know about Sunderland. There was lots there, Darren. I just wanted to pick up on the old issue of fans leaving early, because it's something that has been talked about quite a bit this season when I've been at the ground. It's been noticeable. I still don't know whether it's worse at the Stadium of Light than it is in other places, because obviously there are pretty big crowds there. So just by percentage-wise, lots of people are going to leave. I don't know. I don't know whether we'll see that tonight. I'll have a look when we're here at St James's Park, particularly if the tie looks like it's decided with 10 minutes left, whether people do the same sort of thing here. I don't know. Is it worse at Sunderland than anywhere else?
I've noticed it on occasions, but I think there's been a lot of times where fans have stayed till really close to the end. I just think if you've paid a ticket, you might as well watch the full thing rather than leaving early.
If you've got that choice, so there are medical reasons, there are getting to a job, there's stuff like that which are understandable. But if it was, I guess there's a middle ground there, isn't there, where there's some people that just think I could quite do with getting home. I could quite, I want to go around my pals and watch Strictly, so I could quite do with getting home 15 minutes earlier, so I'd have my tea, then go to... The people like that, they're the ones that maybe, the players would really appreciate, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
if they did stay, even if the team's 2 down, you can score twice in injury time, can't you?
Yeah, listen, the atmosphere after the game, obviously, especially now, as the games are going, and touch wood, long may that continue. There's a great atmosphere at the end of the game, so why not stay? You wouldn't go to the cinemas, buy a ticket and leave before the end, would you? So it's like
unlikely.
No,
you might for some films, but very unlikely. Yes, Ando's back with us. Have you ever left a film before the end, Ando, at the cinema?
What's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you're not enjoying it, I suppose.
Hey, you still want to know at the end.
You still probably want
to know what happens.
It's very rare that people would do that. I think Darren's right there. Ando, have you ever been attacked by a goose or another bird? Been bitten by one?
Been attacked by a parrot.
Have you? When did you get bitten by a parrot?
Where were we? We were in a park over Gateshead. What's it called?
Saltwell Park.
Saltwell Park. Yeah. And there was a lady there, an elderly lady feeding parrots, and she said, "Oh, they're really friendly."
Oh yeah.
She was feeding them away, and I stuck my finger in, and she took a lump out of it.
Did it say anything to you, the parrot? Can't repeat it. Okay, so it's happened to you, because I was talking about my goose incident at the weekend, I know.
I've seen it, yeah.
You already know about, yeah. A few other people have been in touch, quite a lot of people, in fact. So this one says, my parents had a farm with thousands of free-range chickens. We were collecting eggs from one of the hen houses. My younger brother, who was only 5 and very small in height, dropped the side of a nest box to see a chicken sitting in there. He rummaged around with his hand, seeing if there were any eggs, and the chicken grabbed him by the nose, the grizzly bit between the nostrils.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah, and boy was he upset. So this particular, but I bet he was.
Put him off eggs for life.
I would imagine it did. Paul says, hi Simon, I was held hostage by a pair of geese. It's not just us, Darren. I was held hostage by a pair of geese when I was studying animal care at Kirkley Hall. I was putting food and water in their enclosure, and as soon as I shut the door and placed them on the floor, that's when they attacked. One of them clung onto my right leg and wouldn't let go, while the other one pecked at my left leg, while my classmates outside just stood and laughed while I was being savaged and never went back in after that.
No.
I think the one day.
At least I let him go.
Yeah, so a tandem goose attack. We got away lightly with our respective incidents, didn't we? Let's be honest. And this one says, not bitten, but I was on a residential at High Borrens. One of the teachers was hit by a buzzard. Buzzards can swoop at you.
Oh, they can.
Been attacked by one of them as well before when I went running. And Bilbao Black Cats. This is a toucan attack. The toucan known as Simon in a hotel in Santa Cruz in Bolivia. It wasn't impressed with me not paying attention to him while he perched on my hand, so then he let me know about it. Gave him a good peck.
Well,
so you see, I'm not the only one that this has happened to. Railton is said in my ears, we've got a caller, to come on. So I think what he's trying to say is, back from the studio, stop rattling on about bird attacks. It's important, Railton. People are getting in touch. And now he said, can you play a jingle first? All right, well, you can do that, and I'll just give a time check, Railton. How about that? It's 6:43.
Total Sport North East.
Call free 0800 234 6565.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
It's me told, probably quite rightly. Johnny's on the line, Newcastle fan. Hello there, Johnny. How are you doing?
Good evening, gents. How you all doing?
Hey, Johnny.
Yeah,
okay?
good, Johnny.
We could well be getting team news while you're on air, so you can react to it live on the programme, Johnny. But what are your thoughts ahead of tonight's game?
Well, I hope you tell me Anthony Gordon's in the squad, and that'll tune me right up. But no, I think it's a really difficult game tonight. Really, really difficult game. I think when you look at the teams like Chelsea nowadays, yes, they've got a very good first 11, but the second 11 is nearly as strong in some cases. But it's a good test because Newcastle aren't going to make many changes. I wouldn't have thought. But this is a really, really important game. You know, if you can win this and get to a quarter final, that's kind of where it all started here. Like teams that have won trophies in the past, if you get to the quarter final stage, it's almost a new competition. Newcastle have a big hurdle; they've got to get through it, and then hopefully, if they do get through it, then it's something that you can take going into the Arsenal game on Saturday lunchtime.
Yeah, I heard Pep Guardiola today saying that he takes it serious, this competition serious, but he likes to give players who haven't really featured in the first team game time in the earlier rounds, but when it gets to the quarter-final stage, that's when he starts taking it serious, because he gets his big boys in then, because you're only a couple of games away from a cup final. So look, I think this is a big game for us tonight, Johnny. I really do. After the last couple of games, 2 defeats, you wouldn't want to be losing 3 on the bounce going into Arsenal at the weekend. It'll be I think the most interesting thing will be to see the side that Chelsea put out. You know, they've got so many players. They basically got 2, probably 3 squads.
Probably have.
You know, so
yes.
So it'll be really interesting to see what they're starting to
Johnny, hang fire there. Razor is here. He has got the Newcastle team this evening. Razor.
5 changes, but it's still a strong-looking Newcastle team, as Eddie Howe promised. Here it is. Pope is in goal. Kraft at right back. Cher, who is captain, at centre-half alongside Kelly. And Hall continues at left back. Then a midfield 3 of Longstaff, Tonali and Willock. The front 3, Joelinton, although he may switch with Willock. Isak and Gordon is back. Anthony Gordon is fit and starts in one of 5 changes to Newcastle's team tonight. The bench, Dubravka, who has returned from a knock. Barnes, Osula, Livramento, Almiron, Byrne, Alex Murphy, Bruno and Miley. So no Jacob Murphy involved tonight, not sure why, but 5 changes, and here it is again. Pope, Kraft, Cher, Kelly, Hall, Longstaff, Tonali, Willock, Gordon, Isak, Joelinton.
Ando, so you weren't too far off, I think, with your team, were you? Or were you? I can't remember. You had 2 or 3 wrong?
Yeah, I had
4 wrong.
Yeah, I had 4 wrong.
What do you make of this team then?
Yeah, I think, look, I think it's a strong side. I think he was always going to make changes in midfield. I think if Gordon was fit, I think he was always going to be played. It's good to see him back. He gives you that energy level. You know that he puts defenders under pressure. He closes goalkeepers down. He's direct. Defenders hate playing against players who are direct and have got pace, and he fills both of those categories. So look, it's still a strong side. He's made changes, but there's players there that he needs to have a look at as well.
Johnny, what do you think?
I like the defence. I think Kelly coming in the centre half is something I'd prefer more than left back. I think Lewis Hall was one of the better players on Sunday at Stamford Bridge. Midfield, surprising. I think not in a negative way. I'm surprised Bruno's not been dropped off. He's just probably been rested and thinking maybe Saturday lunchtime against Arsenal was a very, very quick turnaround. But I thought he would have started. I'm interested in the Joelinton, whether he's going to be on the left or Willock's going to be on the left. I would imagine it will be Willock, in my opinion. But again, good thing about that is that they can change for the game. Again, I would have been tempted to start Harvey Barnes today because I think he needs a big performance. I think he's been. It's hard to say because you look at the games this season. He scored a few goals, which is obviously what a winger's meant to do. But he's got so much talent, so much ability. I want more from him. I want a lot more from Harvey Barnes. Now, just at the minute, in the last few games, I'm not singling him out in particular, even though it sounds like it. But I think he can give you a lot more. But look, I would have liked to see him start, but. Look, Eddie Howe's the manager. He needs a big result, and he needs a big performance, and he needs to get to the quarterfinals. And that team, on paper, has got a good chance of doing so.
I think the Barnes situation's really interesting. I mean, it's all about opinions. We've all got different opinions. I think the games that he started in, he hasn't been great. You know, I think his performance from the start in games, you know, has been poor. But when he's come on in games, he's had huge influence. You know, so he's had more of an influence coming off the bench than he has when he started games.
Sorry, Johnny, I was just going to ask if you've got the Chelsea team as well, if you've had a sighting of that just yet, and if so, what is it?
Yeah, there's loads of changes for Chelsea. I think it's 11 changes. I think they've changed just...
not a huge surprise.
Yeah, just trying to work it out here, but I can tell you who's in it. Philip Jorgensen, the goalkeeper, starts. Axel Disasi, who was linked to Newcastle in the last transfer window, at right back. Tosin and Benoit Badiashile at centre-back. Marc Cucurella comes back in at left back. Enzo Fernandez is the captain. Renato Vega and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall also in midfield. João Felix, Mihailo Mudryk and Christopher Nkunku are the front three. Cole Palmer is among the Chelsea substitutes.
Okay, so you're chuckling at that. I mean, it's a strong squad, we know that.
Yeah.
What do you think of that team?
Look, it's still a strong side. You know, it's a totally different side to the one that we played at the weekend. But there's still an awful lot of quality in there. I think being at home is a huge advantage for us as well. You know, I think if this had been at Stamford Bridge, it might have been a little bit different. But I just think the fact that we're here at St James's, another full house by the sounds of it. All the changes that Chelsea have made. Hopefully we'll be able to come out the right side of it.
So you've heard the Chelsea team now as well, Johnny, so what do you think?
Yeah, I'm not surprised they've made 11 changes, if I'm honest. They've got 4 competitions. They've got the conference league, which they've obviously made pretty much the same amount of changes. Got to see Cole Palmer on the bench because he is probably the player in form in the Premier League and arguably the best player in the Premier League, some would even argue. But it is still a strong 11 for Chelsea. The forward three, interestingly, is like Nkunku and Felix. You're talking like Nkunku and Felix as second string players, which is remarkable because they're probably getting to 95% of all Premier League sides. So, look, it's a big test, but like Anders says, I'm confident, especially the fact that I think it goes to Stamford Bridge. I think it's a different kettle of fish. But if you're asking me on the spot, can we beat that Chelsea team? Yeah, of course we can, and I think we just about to beat 3-1. Right?
Johnny, thank you.
Cheers, Johnny.
Very much indeed for getting in touch. What are your thoughts on that team? 0800 234 6565 is the number to call. You can send us a WhatsApp message, 08000 321 333. Start your WhatsApp with the letters BBC, and you also need to begin with those same 3 letters if you want to text us on 81333. We are going to talk Sunderland again next. The time now 6:52.
The 1,000 Mile Challenge for BBC Children in Need.
BBC Radio Newcastle is literally going to great lengths to raise money for BBC Children in Need this year. Our swim team are going to attempt to swim 24 miles in one day. We'll be joining with other BBC teams from across the UK as together we try to clock up 1,000 miles. We'll bring you splash by splash accounts of how it's all going with regular updates across the day on Friday, November the 8th.
Together, swimming 1,000 miles for BBC Children in Need.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Yeah, Darren, I'm part of that swim team for children in need. It's not my strength, really. No, to be honest. I'm supposed to be putting the training in, but things have got in the way. You know, getting bitten by a goose didn't help.
No, you probably won't, mate. You'll probably be scared of the water.
No, yeah, indeed. So, yeah, and I found I'm allergic to chlorine as well, which again doesn't help.
Which is not great, mate.
But you know, we will splash on certainly. This message is from Barry from Durham, who says, I can remember when Sunderland were in the semi-finals against Leicester. Darren, you were talking about that, weren't you?
Yeah.
Do you remember who the sponsors were then? As a test for you.
Oh, that is a good... Yeah, ooh, let me have a
Get to the W.
Oh, that's a good... Oh, no. I'm stuck.
Worthington's.
Worthington?
Yeah. And so Barry says, yeah, Worthington's were the sponsors. the Mags named the cup the Worthless Cup rather than the Worthington Cup. But now it seems like it's the European Cup. I wonder why that is, says Barry.
Times have changed, eh?
Yes. I guess it's the poor relation of the two cups. Once you get to the latter stages in particular, that doesn't matter. As a European place up for grabs, it's silverware. It's a major competition.
Exactly, of course it is. And not only that, you can breed confidence off the back of these games as well.
On the line now, we have a Sunderland fan by the name of Dave. Good evening, Dave. How are you doing?
Welcome from West Auckland. How are you all doing?
All right, Dave. Hello, Dave. How are you?
Is it balmy in West Auckland? It's pretty. It's for October. It's balmy in St James's Park tonight, Dave. I tell you.
It's pretty good here. Yeah, I mean, we get a bit of wind now. We live up the hill near towards Toftel, and we get a bit of wind now and again and that. But it's a bit more breezy and a bit colder. Being, like a bit higher up. But no, it's okay. Fine. T-shirt weather.
T-shirt weather, and enjoying life in your T-shirt. Being a supporter of a team 5 points clear at the top of the championship, Dave, as well.
Well, they're playing very, very well. I mean, I can't see him doing nothing wrong at the moment. The manager, and that wasn't keen of him coming in. I'll be honest with you, I hold my hand up. Full marks to the guy. He's come in and he's done something to them, got them playing, hasn't he? And I mean when Ballard's fit again down, he's going to have trouble getting back in the way Chris Metham's playing, isn't he?
He's going to, mate. Yeah, I mean, Metham's he's a great player. He reads the game extremely well. He's got good experience. And he's an athlete as well. He's got decent pace on him as well. So yes, it's going to be a difficult one for Ballard, to be quite honest. But I agree with you with Labrie. I think he was the unknown, wasn't he? And I think we didn't know a lot about him. And I think, in all fairness to him, he's come in and he's took the bull by the horns, and he's having a right go for it.
It's a good job. Amaran's going to Man United at Sporting Lisbon. Well, they might have been on there. He might have had a short-lived manager again.
You're not wrong, mate.
Yeah, I mean that's something that's going to happen, though, isn't it? I mean, in all seriousness, because it doesn't take long now for the stock of a manager to rise. I mean, looking further down, you look at Rob Elliott. Wasn't really even going to be a manager.
No.
Took over from Mike Williamson when he left Gateshead.
Yeah.
And then does well over the course of just over half a season.
Yeah.
And then he's poached by a higher club. It can happen at any level. So I mean, as long as Sunderland are playing well, Régis Labrie is going to be potentially sought after, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he is. Like I say, he was a bit of an unknown. So obviously, even going into it and him coming into the job, you're googling and searching and see where he's been, see where he's managed, etc. But now, he's pretty much in the headlines most weeks.
Yeah, Ando, good luck tonight, mate.
Cheers, Dave. Thank you very much.
I think it'll win tonight. I just think they're a bit soft under. They've got a very soft defence, haven't they? If they get at them, it can be good at Chelsea, can't they? You know what I mean? At the back.
Yeah, I think even at the weekend, defensively they weren't great. I mean, the forward five are very, very good going forward, exactly. But they give you chances defensively. I mean, it's a totally different 11 tonight, but we'll see what they're like defensively. But look, the fact that we're at home, I think is a big help for us.
Yeah, well, a bit like us, really, aren't we? When we go forward, we look really good, don't we, Darren? Do you know what I mean? We can clear the ball in their area. We look really good when we have possession, don't we? You know what I mean?
We do, yeah. We don't have, we are a threat going forward now. We've got options, and we were talking about obviously, people in the shadows of people, and Mundell was one of those players. He's in the shadows of Jack Clark, but now obviously, Jack's obviously gone his way, and Mundell's coming in the forefront. So for me, I think we've kind of shored up with the back as well. We generally solid. It's very rarely that we.
Hasn't he? Trey Hume's improved a lot, hasn't he?
Some people are saying that he's actually dipped a little bit. I don't know. I mean,
I think he's a great player.
I think he's good going forward. Both for that, our full-backs get forward as well, don't they? Create as well.
Yeah.
I think we definitely have interest in the full-back areas now. It's not where we're stuck back. Dan Neal's coming into his own. Bellingham's a different player this year again. I touched on it earlier on and said his work rate is phenomenal this year. And I watched some of his passes, highlights on his passes in the game the other day. I mean, he was threading the needle at times, and it was fantastic, and it's great to see. And long may it continue.
Okay, Dave, thank you very much indeed for coming on the show tonight. Good to talk to you. The number's 0800 234 6565 if you want to have a chat to Darren and to Ando this evening. If you want to speak to Darren in particular, got to be fairly sharp, because of course we'll be handing over to Ando and Razor ahead of kick-off tonight. It is a 7:45 kick-off between Newcastle and Chelsea tonight. The Newcastle goalkeepers just going through their warm-up routines. Somebody's actually messaged in saying, what, only one goalkeeper on the bench? Not enough.
I know, yeah. It's a shock.
What are we going to do? Chelsea have actually got two on their bench, but only one on the Newcastle bench. And Stewie from Hetton says, hi Simon, on a visit to the Farne Islands I was beaked by a tern through my hat. Blood was drawn. It was quite painful, as you can imagine, says Stewie. You've got to be careful. People go to the Farne Islands with umbrellas to fend them off, especially if you go during nesting season. Yeah, no, it's you've got to be careful. And there's a message, number ending 206, which I am not going to read out. It is inappropriate. I knew I'd get a couple of those, which I shall ignore. Thank you very much indeed.
On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker,
Play BBC Radio Newcastle.
and on your radio.
The sound of the North East is BBC Radio Newcastle.
At 7 with the BBC News, I'm John Barnes. The Chancellor Rachel Reeves has used the first Labour budget for 14 years to raise taxes by £40 billion a year to fund big spending increases for the NHS and schools. Employers' national insurance contributions will rise by 1.2 percentage points to 15% next April, raising £24 billion a year. Capital gains tax paid on the profits made on assets will also increase, raising another £6 billion a year. There'll also be a crackdown on tax avoidance, and private school fees will attract VAT. Rachel Reeves told the BBC the changes were necessary to reverse the economic approach of the previous government.
This is not a sort of budget that we would want to repeat. This is the budget that is needed to wipe the slate clean and to put our public finances on a firm trajectory. The first line of the first step in our manifesto was to bring back economic stability. If I hadn't have taken those choices today to put our public finances on a firm footing, I would risk making the mistakes that the previous government made.
The Conservative leader, Rishi Sunak, says Labour has decided to let borrowing rip. Mel Stride, the Shadow Work and Pension Secretary, says the government has broken promises.
What Labour have clearly done here is they went into the general election telling everybody they weren't going to be putting up taxes left, right and centre. They've then come into office all along having decided they were going to have this huge spending splurge, huge borrowing splurge as well.
An investigation is underway to find out what caused a fire at the BAE nuclear shipyard at Barrow in Cumbria. The emergency services were called in the early hours of this morning and 2 people were treated in hospital. Nuclear-powered submarines are built at the shipyard, as are the submarines that carry the UK's nuclear deterrent, but there's been no nuclear risk to the public. A veteran from Haslingden in Lancashire has thanked social media after his late wife's engagement ring, stolen in a house burglary, was returned to him. Daryl Horsnell discovered it had been taken from next to her ashes, along with a number of other items, after he came home from a charity fishing trip last month. He appealed for the ring on social media, and it was sent back to him anonymously in the post.
I've had an amazing reaction that's been shared literally thousands of times by people that know me and people that I've never met before. Your social media's really done a good job for me. I never thought I'd ever see the ring again, but now it's back where it belongs.
Around 600 pieces of Star Wars memorabilia have sold for more than £177,000 at an auction in Stockton-on-Tees. A rare figurine attracted the highest individual bid, fetching over £9,000 after fees. That's the latest. You're up to date. You can find out all the details on the BBC News website. It's 7:03.
Total Sport North East.
Call free 0800 234 6565.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Yes, do give us a call this in the show, coming live from St James's Park, where kick-off in the Carabao Cup last 16 match between Newcastle United and Chelsea is just over 40 minutes away. Razor is here, and he can, in between dropping his team sheets everywhere,
I've memorised it, it's fine.
Remind us of the team news.
Anthony Gordon is back from a groin problem. One of 5 changes for Newcastle tonight. Here's the 11. Pope, Kraft, Cher, Kelly, Hall, Longstaff, Tonali, Willock, Gordon, Joelinton, Isak, and Chelsea have made 11 changes. Cole Palmer is among their substitutes.
Thank you very much indeed, Razor. So what do you make of that Newcastle team then? You've got your chance to have your say before kick-off tonight. 0800 234 6565. John Anderson on hand to take your calls. We'll continue talking Sunderland with Darren Williams as well. We have been talking this evening about Aaron Connolly. We've heard from him on the show tonight, and the general competition for places in terms of the strikers. We've also been talking about that old chestnut of leaving early, leaving before the final whistle as well. A couple of messages on that topic which have come in, which I will come to later as well. Keep those messages coming in as well. 81333 on text, 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp. Start your messages with the letters BBC.
Total Sport North East.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
And let's do a couple of those messages now. David from Durham says it isn't just Sunderland fans that leave games early. Newcastle fans were streaming out in their droves against Brighton. It was even mentioned on Match of the Day, but not on your programme. Real Madrid fans were leaving early against Barcelona last week. This is just the modern day football fan.
There's a reason for that one.
Yeah, I think there was a really obvious reason why the Real Madrid fans were leaving. I think there were a few kind of white hankies being waved around as well, 100%. Which is always a bad sign there. And Brian, who's in Peterlee, says one of the reasons more people are leaving games early, me included, is the amount of injury time nowadays, because matches last longer than they used to. Is that a reason to go earlier, because there's going to be an extra 4 or 5 minutes of injury time?
I think you get to watch more, don't you?
Sometimes it's 10 minutes.
More value for money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you get more for your money.
So I don't know, why is that a reason to leave earlier, Brian? You just had enough. You've reached your patience threshold. In terms of tonight's game, Simon's been on saying that Cher should play in midfield. He then adds that he's only joking. He just hasn't said it for a while.
We had it last night.
Oh, did you?
We had somebody who came on and said Cher should be playing that defensive midfield role.
They did not, did they?
He hasn't got the legs to play in there.
No.
What was your reaction?
I didn't say anything.
No, okay.
I just said he hasn't got the legs to play.
Bob has been on as well. Bob says, I hope we see more attacking from the start for Newcastle tonight. It looks like Isak has lost interest, says Bob. I hope they bring some subs on early instead of the 88th minute like they did at Chelsea. What's the point of that? You have to give subs a chance. He's already thinking about changing the game, which hasn't even started yet.
That was something that we spoke about last night as well. You know, Eddie Howe said in his press conference yesterday that he likes to make substitutions early. His first substitutions that he makes are usually on 60-65 minutes, but yeah, I mean, going into added on time at Chelsea, he made substitutions at the weekend. You're not giving those boys any chance whatsoever. You know, the lads that were coming on. But that's the way he does it, and that's the way he's always done it. And he probably won't change.
Did you ever come on, Darren, with 3 minutes left, getting told to change the game?
Jim Smith did it to me one day at Middlesbrough.
What did he do?
He's going into added on time. He said, get stripped.
What was the score?
It was 1-1, I think.
And was he happy with the point, and therefore thought he just wasted a bit of time?
Ready and go on. I went, no.
He said no?
Yeah.
So you refused?
Yeah, for 2 minutes added on time.
That's a disgrace.
There was one occasion.
Well, you can't be saying no to Jim Smith.
I did.
Did you play the following week?
No.
There was one occasion where I think there was two or three of us left, and it was a race to see who got on, and that was only to get your appearance money. So yeah. So.
So there's always that as well. Yeah, well, you're not going to get appearance money for that, Ando. You didn't think of that, did you?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Not for a minute.
Arthur is on the line, Sunderland supporter. Hello, Arthur. How are you doing?
Hello, lads. How are you? Are you all right?
Hello, Arthur.
I'm good, Arthur. Thanks, yeah.
I'm good, mate. Thank you. I feel like I'm cheating now because I'm at St James's Park. So.
Yeah, you feel slightly uncomfortable here. Has anyone recognised you, Darren?
I hope not.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Darren.
Yes, mate.
I've supported children for 70 years, and I've made, as I said before in this programme, I've had ups and downs and more downs and ups. But at this moment in time, I am actually over the moon. The football, what we're playing, is good. The supporters are happy. And at last the club, I think they've realised that what the club means to the supporters. And they're finally coming round to say, aye, we've got some good supporters there and we'd better look after them. What do you think of that?
100%. Yeah, 100%, mate. I think it's taken its time, hasn't it? Let's be honest. You know, we've gone through so many different transitions, you know, in situations throughout the club. I think, you know, we're finally getting to kind of where we want to be and where we want to go. And I think they've taken that on board. You know, it's evident that the fans love the club, and you know that goes without saying. Even through the bad times, mate, you know, you guys have always been there. So, you know, I think it's a bit of a payback now for you guys. You know, the football's great. You know, we're winning. You know, and long may that continue.
I mean, the players what we signed, they're all saying decent players. But the main thing I've noticed is we've got some good characters now.
100%,
characters. We've got the John, the lads, or nothing like that.
Well, this is it, you know, and I think the lads who we've got in and the lads who we've brought in are down to earth, you know, and they're in the quant, should we say. You know, they're working hard, they're putting in the shift, and I think we've competition for places now, which is a massive thing. You know, I think we went for many years where, you know, we didn't have a strike, well, not many years, but, you know, a long time where we didn't have strikers, and I think now we've got three competing against each other. It's, you know, it's only going to make us better, mate.
It's only good for the team and good for the club and good for us and what have you. John, can I ask you a question, mate?
Of course you can, yeah.
You know chocolate? What, you're an assistant manager at Tinder, that's what I call him, chocolate.
Right.
He lick himself.
Yeah.
Has he lost his camera?
Has he lost his camera?
Aye, he didn't seem to be taking many photos now.
They took one at the women's derby after the final whistle on the pitch there. They took one at the women's derby at the Stadium of Light, Arthur, on the pitch there. But the men's team hasn't.
That was a ladies. That was a ladies.
Yes, yeah, okay. So no, I don't know. Has Jason lost his camera? I don't know.
They only take these photographs after they win games. There hasn't been one. There hasn't been one for a while. Look, I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, if you're going to take a photograph, take it all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Win, lose or draw.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
You know, there's no point in just doing it because you win. If you're going to do it all the time.
You can't be taking a picture after you've lost 4-0, though, can you?
Well, if you're going to do it when you've won 4-0. You might as well do it when you've lost.
Well, I don't know.
Why do it at all?
It's a celebratory thing, isn't it?
It's a load of
rubbish. Yes.
John,
go on,
I'm going to go down in your estimation. I went along the boat.
I doubt that. Go on.
I'm going. Will I tell you this? I went to Booties yesterday.
Yeah.
And I forgot the horse while I was going back. Cheers. So anyway, I picked another one. And when I got back home, I looked in the paper.
And the other one won.
25-1, the one I left out.
Arthur, you should never change your mind, you know.
You're right.
Always stick with your first.
Right.
Yeah. There you go. You see, if you had to put that 100 quid on that 25-1 shot, you'd have been laughing all the way to the bank.
Anyway, lads, thanks very much once again for having us. It's been a pleasure.
No problem, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers, Arthur. Take it easy.
Thank you very much indeed. Cheers for coming on this evening. Anthony has been on. Anthony says the League Cup has never been two legs all the way through. I thought this was correct. I didn't think
it had been either.
First two rounds and semis only.
Yeah.
And the second round wasn't actually two legs until the late 70s, so that changed to two legs, and then it kind of went back again. But now, yes, we have to wait until the semi-final stage before two legs kick in. It is still two legs for the semi-finals, isn't it? Doubting myself.
It is.
Now.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, it is.
I'm getting
Yeah, we played
nods.
Southampton.
Yeah, I'm getting. Yeah, it hasn't changed since then. No. That was 2 seasons ago. No, okay, but I'm getting nods from people that know more about things than I do. It's time for our opposition lowdown, and that person giving us the nod is Bobby Vincent from Football.London, who has come to have a chat to us about Chelsea. Bobby, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So it's definitely 2 legs for the semi, yeah? Still is.
I think
they haven't changed that yet.
Chelsea were there last year.
Yeah, so that was last year, so yeah, they haven't changed this year. It was definitely 2 legs last year, I'm sure.
I mean, they might have changed, but who knows?
Well, yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Question is one of these 2 sides going to get to the semis? I mean, how good are Chelsea seconds?
They're pretty good, but the only thing so far is they haven't played anyone that good. They've played obviously a few Conference League sides. They've played Servette, Ghent, Panathinaikos, and they've played Barrow. So tonight is definitely the biggest test, and I think that will tell us a lot more about how good they are.
Yeah, so what do you make of the team that he's picked tonight? I mean, I guess they've effectively got probably even more than 2 teams. It's almost like 2.5 teams. So there's a league team, a cup team, and a team for Europe as well almost. So what do you make of what he's selected tonight?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much what we expected. You've got the likes of Marc Cucurella and Enzo Fernandez, who probably are in the strongest team, but Marc Cucurella, for example, was suspended a couple of weeks ago, so he then played in midweek, so he became a part of the B side, so that's just sort of carried on. And the only, I guess, surprise is there being no Jadon Sancho in the squad, but I've been told that he's just missing through illness tonight.
Right.
So nothing to worry about. I know a lot of Chelsea fans were thinking he could have been injured, but very much as we'd sort of expect for this B-side, so-called B-side.
Otherwise he might have featured. I mean, how much, because bearing in mind Chelsea are still pretty relatively recent winners of the Champions League, aren't they? I mean, they've won FA Cups galore and been in finals, over the last couple of decades as well. So in the whole scheme of things, how important to Chelsea is the League Cup?
I think it would be great for Enzo Maresca to. I think this is probably this and the FA Cup the Conference League those competitions are obviously Chelsea's biggest chance of winning the trophy this season. And the Carabao Cup, they got to the final last year in a season that wasn't too good under Mauricio Pochettino. So I think Enzo Maresca respects this competition. I mean, it might not seem that way by the team he's playing, but because he's got so many players, he's trying to get the most minutes he can to all of them. So I think it's important, and I think Chelsea fans, they haven't seen a trophy in a couple of years now, and they've been so used to it that they want to win anything they can.
These players that are all playing tonight, he's obviously making 11 changes. Are they playing to get into his starting 11, or is he settled on his Premier League squad? No matter how many of these play well tonight, will they then put seeds in his head that they should be in the league, sir?
I mean, if you ask Enzo himself, he's saying that the Premier League team, everything's up for grabs still. So these players are playing for that. From an outside point of view, I guess you could see it as just 2 teams, but I mean, if you're one of these fringe players, you've got to believe that if you play well, then you'll be getting into the Premier League team. And I mean, for example, Christopher Nkunku, he scored 8 goals already this season for France and Chelsea. In any other season, he would probably be in a Premier League team, but Nicholas Jackson started so well that it's almost impossible to drop him. And look at João Felix as well. He scored 2 at Panathinaikos last week, but he's competing with Cole Palmer.
I mean, it's unbelievable. You've got Fernandes, a World Cup winner. You've got Cucurella. And all of a sudden they're in the B
and
side.
If you start to get a manager that gets the best out of these players, I mean, what does success for Chelsea this season look like, Bobby, do you think?
I think, we tried asking Enzo this a few times, and he hasn't been set a clear target in terms of what to do. But I think, from a fan's point of view, top 4. Maybe a trophy like the Carabao Cup, but that would be an added bonus. I think top 4 is Chelsea want to be back playing Champions League football. I mean, they weren't even in Europe last season.
Yeah.
And now in the Conference League, and we've seen from the first 2 games they don't belong there. The squad they've assembled is, a lot of money has been spent on this squad, but it is now a very good squad, and I think they've got the right head coach finally to.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that. Have the fans accepted Maresca? Have they?
Yeah. Simple as that. They have. They weren't sure about him at the start because coming from Leicester's got promoted last season, but with the squad they have, they should have. But the way he got them playing football was he got it going very quickly, and he's already done that at Chelsea, and fans seem to be really on board. I got the feeling with Maurizio Pochettino last season, and perhaps something to do with his the fact that he was at Tottenham, but they never really
accepted him.
Yeah, never really got behind him as much as they would have liked and as much as they should have. And with Maresca, I think it has been different. I mean, just from looking on social media and speaking to people I know, they seem to have really got on board with Maresca, and that's made a big difference.
Okay. Bobby, what's your prediction for tonight then? Bearing in mind that Chelsea have an excellent record over Newcastle at Stamford Bridge. It's not so good, the record here. So, interesting matchup. How do you see it going?
I'm just looking at the Newcastle team, because I haven't actually seen that yet. 5 changes basically from the team that played at the weekend. So okay, Anthony Gordon's back, so that's big. I think it's one that could go to penalties. That feels like a bit of a cop out.
I hope not.
But if I was Newcastle, I'd be fancying this game because that is a lot of changes to Chelsea, and like I said, they haven't played someone like Newcastle yet with this so-called B team. So I think maybe I'm going to go for a penalty shootout. And then,
a penalty shootout, okay. And then anything can happen, okay, of course. Chelsea won a penalty shootout last season, didn't they, against Newcastle at Stamford Bridge. Bobby, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us this evening. That's Bobby Vincent from football.london, giving us the lowdown on Chelsea. Let's have a chat to Dave, who is a Newcastle supporter, on the line now, just to give us his thoughts ahead of a kick-off, which is now 25 minutes or so away, at a very noisy and very, I keep saying it, balmy is the only word for it, Ando.
It's unbelievable.
St James's Park. Anyway, Dave, good evening.
Good evening, lads. How we doing?
How you, Dave?
All right, Dave.
How are you feeling about tonight, Dave?
Nervous, Friday, nervous. We're not in the best of form, but he's chosen a good team. He's chosen a strong team. There's a couple of changes in there. I'm just glad Isak's still in the team. I don't think this is the right game for Asula. I haven't really seen enough of the lad, to be honest, but Chelsea at home in a game I think Eddie Howe really needs to win. I think we need to win this game. How we'll win it is another thing. We need to get through. Otherwise, I think there's going to be some questions asked. I think the midfield's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that works up, whether Willock or Joe Linton is in the midfield 3 or the attack 3. I'm assuming it's going to be a 4-3-3. I just want to see us perform. The last round against Wimbledon was poor. I think we need to have some more intent here, and I want to see some positivity from the team. I texted him last night about that daft press conference Eddie Howe did, and he's beginning to come out with some weird stuff. So I think tonight we need to change tactically as well. Interesting to see what happens when we get a corner, mind John. Because there's been a lot of talk about that. And also I think this chat over the week we've had about the 3 midfielders. Look, if you're going to spend 50 odd million on a midfielder, I think you're right, John, it's not working. That's down to coaching for me. I think we've got players in their quality. You need to make it work. You need to change something. And I'm a little bit worried Harvey Barnes is a very expensive substitute. So, tonight, mate.
Are you happy with the substitute that he's made? I mean, the changes that he's made to this starting 11. Obviously, Kelly, Willock, Kraft, Longstaff coming in.
Yeah, I mean, I love Kraft. He's one of my favourites because he's got a good heart. Would I put him in ahead of Livermento in a game like this at home tonight? Probably not. I think Kelly's interesting. I think Dan Burn got well and truly took out the pace the other night. Longstaff, it's the endless debate, isn't it, with Longstaff? Well, he's in tonight. Let's see what he does. Is he gonna keep up with this myth and does all the dirty work? Because I don't think he does. But Eddie's had to change it. We've asked him, can he be creative? He's changed it. Right, let's see what happens then. They're all first-team players that have come in. We're not playing kids untested. So credit to him for that.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point. I mean, it's not as if he's thrown kids in. He's thrown boys in who've got bags of experience. It's not It's nothing new to them, and it'll be interesting to see. I agree with you. The interesting one for me is where Willock and Joe Linton play. I think Willock may well start further forward, and Joe Linton plays on the left side of that midfield three. But
they can sort of interchange those two as well, can't they?
They can, yeah, they can. But it'll be interesting to see what way they set up.
Okay. Anything else, Dave?
Yeah, I was just going to say, remember those days of Steve Bruce's teams in the Cup, and we'd go down to Stevenage and you would play all the kids and you think, what's the point? At least Eddie's taken this seriously, but poor performance tonight and we get knocked out. Big questions. So, but let's be positive,
Dave, maybe we'll speak to you on the show Dave, tomorrow evening. Who knows? Thank you very much indeed for sharing your thoughts tonight. Would you agree with that? Big questions to be asked about Eddie Howe if it doesn't go well tonight. I mean, I guess a certain amount would depend on the performance. If they play well but lose, well, that's one thing. If they go out with a whimper, that's another. Because
the thing is, though, Friday, if they play well, and these boys that he's brought in play well, he's then got a decision to make on Saturday.
Exactly, yeah, totally.
Because we've lost we haven't won in the last 5 league games. So he's then got a dilemma for himself come Saturday if they play well.
Of course.
Couple more for you, Darren, before you go, from Sunderland supporters. Ryan says, Darren suggests that Job has come on leaps and bounds. Yes, but people forget at only 17 he did get 7 goals last season. He wasn't that bad, but him, Rig and Neil are going to go far in this game, says Ryan.
Yeah, I'm not saying he was bad last season. What I'm saying is his work ethic this year is a damn sight higher than what it was last year. Listen, he got goals, he's a great player, we know that he was brilliant last year, but what I'm saying is he's adapted his game. He's now working hard, he's working up and down the pitch, he's covering more ground on the pitch, and he's more effective for that, and who's benefiting from that? The team's benefiting from that. So I'm not saying he was bad last season. What I'm saying is his work ethic has changed massively.
This one is from Michael in South Shields. He says there has been a lot of plaudits for the likes of Job and Rig and Mepham, etc., all richly deserved. But for me, somebody is our unsung hero. Who do you think he says?
Who do you think, Dan Neil?
Nope.
No.
Luke O'Nien
Luke
he's gone for. He's solid in defence, his distribution is excellent, plus his composure and keeping his cool has improved 100%, says Michael. I'm not sure you would say that, bearing in mind the full-time kerfuffle that he got involved when he ran 40 yards to leap on top of the melee. But
I think with Luke, he's a great player and he's a consistent player, and I think that's the key with Luke. He's evident. He's played in a few positions. He's consistent. Listen, he has his mad moments. We've seen him. We've seen him stand on the board and at the side and dive on the top of the group and all that. So we know what Luke's about. Dan Neil for me, he's stepped up as well. Dan Neil's, he's took the captaincy. He's leading by example. For me, the team has stood up and is standing up, and hopefully they'll stand up to the end of the season.
Dean says you can tell that Diddy team have won a few games. They're all getting excited again. I will let you respond to Dean if you wish, or you can just let that chuckle do the talking.
Listen, Dean, we're going about our business in a quiet manner, let's be honest. But not, for me, I don't think there's anything better than seeing the North East lifted with results, and that goes for all the North East teams. We all like to see them win, and we all like to be in the Premier League again, competing against each other like you used to be. And I think that's what we're aiming for.
And Philip has been on. It's another of the age-old debates, this one, because we were talking earlier about squad rotation, etc. And Philip says claiming a player has played too much football is ludicrous because that is his profession. Get on with it, says Philip. I think making a statement like that is actually a bit ludicrous because we know that players, to be at their best, need to have recovered properly.
Especially when you take the travelling into consideration as well. I mean, look, I've got no problem with players playing games. This was another topic that we talked about last night, Darren, as well. And you'll know because you played the game. When you're winning games, and you're winning games on a consistent basis, you don't feel tired.
No, you don't.
You want to play.
Yeah.
In fact, you'd play every day of the week.
Yeah, of course you would, 100%.
But if you're losing games on a consistent basis, it then becomes a mental thing as well.
Yeah.
And everybody, I'm tired, I'm lethargic, whatnot. So it's a confidence thing as well. But the thing is, with some of these boys, you take Guimaraes into consideration. He's played a lot of games, but not only has he played a lot of games, the amount of travelling that he's had to do as well. And I know people will say, "Oh yeah, but it's luxury travel and it's all first class and whatnot."
Yeah. Oh, but
he's still he's still flying halfway around the world to play games, and then flying halfway around the world to come back.
Of course, it is. It's a lot, and it does take a strain on you, mate. Definitely 100%. The travelling, may be nice travelling, but it's still the same length.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what coach you go on, or what aeroplane you go on. It's still the same distance.
Exactly.
Darren, it's been a pleasure having you on the show this evening.
It's been a
Hopefully
pleasure.
we'll have you on again soon.
Lovely. Thank you.
To have you
Cheers,
on,
Cheers.
Darren Williams.
Enjoy the game.
The former Sunderland. We didn't ever come up with an option for a utility man, did we? So we'll just leave it at that. But Darren is on his way. He's not staying for the game, you know, Ando. He's got other business to conduct away from St James's Park this evening. Kick-off, though, now is little more than 15 minutes away, and Ando, along with our commentator Matthew Raisbeck, will take you up to that kick-off next.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Big news in the northeast this morning. The Rothbury estate has been bought by a group of wildlife charities. And on the phone is Mike Pratt, the chief executive of Northumberland Wildlife Trust. This is exciting, isn't it, Mike?
Fantastic, isn't it? I'm absolutely bursting with excitement. I've got an empty champagne bottle on the table. It's fantastic. I mean, it's once in a generation. And I think we're just really fortunate that this massive opportunity is happening in Northumberland.
You can hear my full chat with Mike on BBC Sounds. If it's happening in the northeast, we're talking about it on your breakfast show. I'll see you tomorrow.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle. Total Sport Northeast.
The EFL Cup.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
And we're at the fourth round stage of the competition, so the winners go through to the quarter-finals, which is where these two clubs met last season, just before Christmas. Newcastle were almost in the last four. They were 2 minutes away until Chelsea scored a late equaliser and then won the penalty shootout, eliminating United, and the League Cup dream died just a few days after the Champions League came to an end in all European football last season. Chelsea are actually Newcastle's most frequent opponents in this competition. Tonight's tie will be the 7th time they have played against them in the League Cup, and they've won only one, Newcastle, of the previous 6 meetings. We're going to bring you the full 90 minutes live and exclusive here on BBC Radio Newcastle. We're on BBC Sounds as well, and you can also listen to us by asking your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle. Here's the Magpies team, and then we're going to hear from Eddie Howe. Nick Pope is the goalkeeper. So no change in between the posts tonight, but 5 outfield changes. Emil Kraft comes in for his first appearance since the win over AFC Wimbledon in the last round. Fabian Schär retains his place and captains the team. Lloyd Kelly is in at centre-back. Lewis Hall stays at left-back. In midfield, Sean Longstaff, on his 27th birthday, is restored to Newcastle starting 11. Sandro Tonali keeps his place. Joe Willock comes back in as well. Anthony Gordon is fit, having missed the league match on Sunday with a groin problem. Joelinton and Alexander Isak, the other forward players. Though Joelinton and Willock can obviously switch who plays on the wing and who plays in midfield, something they did with a lot of success a couple of seasons ago. Newcastle's bench: Dubravka, Barnes, Osula, Livramento, Almiron, Byrne, Alex Murphy, Bruno and Miley. John Anderson, the 5 changes. That's more than I thought, but I'm not surprised about midfield, Longstaff and Willock. Gordon is a big boost. What do you make of the defensive changes?
Yeah, look, I've got no qualms with Kraft coming in. I don't think he ever lets anybody down, no matter whether he plays at right back or centre back. You know exactly what you're going to get out of him. He's an honest boy. He puts he goes and does his business in a professional manner. I thought he would have played at centre back though. I thought Cher would have come out of the side and he would have changed both the centre backs, but there you go. It is what it is. I thought Livramento and Hall were two of our better performances at Chelsea down at Chelsea at the weekend. So we'll see how it goes. It's I think a lot of people were hoping that he would change something in midfield. He has done that, and it'll be really interesting to see how it works out.
Yeah, and Tonali in the centre of that midfield as opposed to Longstaff.
Yeah, I think so.
Or could it be a 4-2-3-1 with?
Who's your two holding midfield players?
Well, then he'd have Tonali and Longstaff a bit deeper than Willock, who might be behind Isak. But yeah, we'll know for certain when they line up. But there are options within that 11, aren't there?
Yeah, I mean, he likes this 4-3-3. You know, it's something that when he first came into the football club, he went with that. It's been successful for us. And his argument will be there's no real reason to go and change it because it's worked so successfully for us since I've been here. The one interesting one is where Willock and where Joe Linton will start.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, he might change formation, he might do it a little bit differently, but until we see them lined up, we won't know.
They're on their way back down the tunnel into the changing room. Newcastle, some of the substitutes, William Osula, Dan Byrne, the last players to make their way off the pitch. We're 10 minutes away from kick-off on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds tonight. So if you're listening on the BBC Sounds app, you can stay right where you are and continue to listen to us that way. Chelsea, 11 changes. Jurgensen in goal, Disasi, Tosin, Badiashile, Cucurella at the back, Dewsbury Hall, Enzo Fernandez, Renato Vega in midfield, João Felix, Mudryk and Nkunku the front three. The Chelsea bench got two goalkeepers, Bettinelli and Bergstrom, Colwill, Madueke, Chukwuemeka. Palmer is on the bench, which is undoubtedly good news after the way he played on Sunday. Chilwell, Cassidy and Guiu are the other Chelsea substitutes. It's Newcastle United looking to get into the last 8 of the League Cup, reach another quarter-final. Given what's been going on in terms of performances and results in recent weeks, this is undoubtedly an even bigger night for them and for Eddie Howe, coming as it does during a tough spell.
Yeah, I think always with these spells of games, I think you want more games to come. So for us, the frustration of Sunday is still there, still that feeling of what could have been. It was another game that got away from us, and you sort of, there's some key moments that you look back after the game and you reflect on, and you knew they're big at the time, but then they're even bigger when you're watching it back and you know the result. So that frustration we need to turn into positive energy. We need to turn into motivation and fuel for future performances. We're always excited to play, and we're always excited to play at home in front of our brilliant supporters, and we need to make it a real occasion if we can.
And irrespective, finally, of what happens in the Premier League, how important does the League Cup remain to you and your players?
Well, it's been an important competition for us since we've been here, and that's not changed. That will be reflected in how we go. We'll try and pick a team that we think can win the game. Chelsea are dangerous opponents and difficult opponents, as we saw on Sunday. I've got no doubt they will possibly make changes to their team, but those changes will still be a very strong team.
Total Sport North East.
Matthew Raisbeck and black and white legend John Anderson.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
And it's 11 changes, Anto, for Chelsea again, which is what they did for the European match in Greece against Panathinaikos on Thursday. And they played a strong team, their Premier League team really, on Sunday. And now the fringe players, or those who don't start league games, have all come in tonight. And it's a team full of quality players that a lot of other Premier League clubs will be delighted to have.
I mean, the depth of the squad is unbelievable. They've just got so many players.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
You know, when you look at it, you've got you've got Fernandes, who's a World Cup winner. You've got Cucurella, who's won a European Championship. You know, and they can't get in that starting 11. It's a real strange one, but they've just got so many top players.
Chelsea were beaten finalists last season, losing to Liverpool after extra time at Wembley, knocking Newcastle out on the way. This season they've played one League Cup tie, which was against Barrow of League 2 at home in the last round, because with them being in Europe they only enter the League Cup at the third round stage. 5-0 win against Barrow for Chelsea last time, which included a hat-trick for Christopher Nkunku, who's actually their top scorer with 8 goals.
And he can't get in the starting 11.
Scored 4 in Europe, 3 in the League Cup and just 1 in the Premier League. The embarrassment of riches they have, Chelsea. I mean, it's unmatched, isn't it? I just think when you compare what they have and the level they're at, and the fact that they have such high revenues, and they've also been able to sell players for big money, which Newcastle haven't historically or even recently been able to do with huge amounts of regularity. That enables them to continue to invest at the level that they do. And what we know Chelsea have done is when they've signed players, whoever they are, young players or established names and stars, they have spread out the contracts, that accounting practice, amortization, where they pay the transfer fee, whatever it is. In the case of Mykhailo Mudryk, about 90 million over 8 years, I think, and just pay a bit off each year, and that enables them to sign all these players. But it cannot be easy to manage such a bloated squad, keeping players happy for one thing.
I mean, it must be really strange going into training every day and wondering who you're going to be training with, because you can't put sessions on with that many players. You know, you'll have your 16, 17, 18 maybe first team squad players that you train with. You may bring another couple in, but then what do you do with the rest of them? Where do the rest of them go and train?
Look at Ben Chilwell, England international, quality player for Chelsea, previously at Leicester. He was told in the summer he wasn't needed, then they added him to the 25-man Premier League squad. He's made one appearance this season against Barrow as a substitute. He's on the bench again tonight. And they've got players of his ability in that situation.
But it's hard to shift these players on as well when you look at the contracts they're on and the wages that they're on. You know, it's a real strange one. They've just got so much depth. It's incredible.
And Newcastle, at times, I mean, Chelsea have done it tonight, in fairness. This may weaken the point that I'm about to make, but 2 goalkeepers on the bench, which I think is the manager making a point when he could put an academy player on. You've got Alex Murphy there tonight, who made 2 Premier League substitute appearances last season.
The Murphy one's a real strange one.
It's that depth that Chelsea have to make all these changes that Newcastle don't have. I'm not sure he would have made loads of changes anyway. If everyone was fit, it would be a strong team, but they just don't have that luxury, do they?
No, they don't. You know, unfortunately, we don't have the depth of squad that Chelsea have got. I mean, do you really want that many players? You don't really want that many players, because there could be an awful lot of unrest there among an awful lot of players. Obviously, you want a deeper squad than we've got. I think the fact that we haven't strengthened in previous transfer windows, you know, I think it's been a little bit unfair on Eddie Howe, you know, because teams in and around you have strengthened. We've seen them move on, and we're sort of standing still.
Here they are, Newcastle United and Chelsea, led out by the referee Chris Kavanagh from Greater Manchester. He took charge of the 2-1 win at Wolves last month. Lee Betts and Adrian Holmes, the assistant referees tonight, wearing luminous yellow shirts, black shorts and socks. Thomas Bramall is the fourth official, and in the League Cup we don't see VAR until the semi-final stage, so it's not in use tonight. 11 changes for Chelsea, 5 for Newcastle United, and the players shake hands with the officials and with each other. Runners-up 2 seasons ago. Last year they were minutes away from another semi-final before Chelsea painfully came back to win.
Yeah, it was a painful one right at the end of the game. We almost felt we were in the semi-finals in that moment. The game turned so quickly in the sense that they scored, they went to penalties, and we hadn't really regrouped, I didn't think, mentally from conceding so late, and it was a missed opportunity for us because it's so difficult to get to the latter stages of any cup competition, and we felt we were sort of had one foot in there. So I think this game's totally different. They're a different team, different manager, but certainly you always learn from those moments. I think you take them with you, the scars and the experiences of difficult moments, but it actually helps you and makes you a better team, and all those experiences will hopefully help us the next time we're in that position.
And they're at home tonight, Ando, which is key because their record away at Chelsea is terrible. Here it's pretty good, but they would always want a home tie, and they haven't had many in recent seasons, have they? And they only got the Wimbledon one at St James's Park switched because of issues beyond both clubs' control.
Just as well they did. When you look back at that performance, you know, we scraped through that game with a penalty, you know. But you're right, you know, as bad as our record is at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea here, it's the other way around. You know, Chelsea very rarely do well here, and you just hope that trend continues here tonight.
BBC Radio Newcastle, live on BBC Sounds tonight and NUFC TV. You can also ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle and listen to us through your smart speaker. Black and white stripes, black shorts and black socks. Pope wearing green and yellow. Great atmosphere at a sold-out St James's at Chelsea with more than 4,000 travelling fans. Blue for their outfield players, and goalkeeper Jurgensen in orange. He is yet to play in the Premier League, but he's played in Europe and the Cup. Philip Jurgensen, Danish under-21 international. Axel Disasi, Tosin, Benoit Badiashile and Mark Cucurella at the back. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, who is another one of those players yet to start in the Premier League for Chelsea but plays in the Cup. Enzo Fernandez, Renato Vega, João Felix, Mihailo Mudryk and Christopher Nkunku. Newcastle United, Pope, Kraft, Cher, Kelly, Hall in defence. Longstaff, Tonali, Willock across midfield. Joelinton, Gordon, who'll be on the right, and Isak up top. And we are almost ready to go here at St James's Park on a mild night under the lights, looking to reach the quarter-finals of the League Cup. Chelsea kick us off. Newcastle are shooting up the hill towards the Leazes end in the first half to the left as we look at the pitch. Fabian Schär with a big clearance up to halfway. The two Chelsea centre-halves are absolute units, aren't they? Tosin, 6'5", Badiashile 6'4". Gordon putting pressure on goalkeeper Jurgensen. A back pass towards him from Badiashile. Gordon slides in and deflects the Chelsea clearance up the line, out of play, signalling his intent from the off on his return after missing one match through injury. Ball back in play from Chelsea. Now into the middle of Newcastle's half, and Nkunku edge of the area. Dewsbury-Hall goes for a first-time shot, left-footed from the edge of the box. It was
poor header by Kelly, really poor header. Dewsbury-Hall, big chance, should have done better.
An effort straight at Nick Pope, low down, left-footed, centre of the goal. Ball up the line from Newcastle had gone out, but they have a throw on halfway. Hall back to Kelly. He didn't look comfortable at left-back against Wimbledon. Hopefully he'll be more at ease at centre-back. There's a ball from Fabian Schär, switching the play. Joelinton up the left wing, Willock inside, 30 yards out, 0-0. Joelinton back to Hall, and now Kelly on the halfway line. His first start since that
Wimbledon match on the 1st of the month. Kraft, likewise, hasn't played since the last round. Gordon getting it back from Longstaff. Willock. Isak pulls out wide right. Chance to deliver across. Joelinton just wide. He's miscued it, Joelinton. It's come across and it's gone behind off Joelinton. In fact, it's flashed away from the goal and gone out eventually near the corner. He's just guided it away from the posts, Joelinton, and it's a huge chance. I think it's hit the side netting and then rolled along the goal line and then gone out.
That's massive. That's a huge chance. How many times do you see him get into those areas and just gets it all wrong? Two big chances at either end.
Yeah. Inside 3 minutes. Huge for Joelinton and Newcastle. Couldn't take it. He has started as the attacking player, as we said earlier that he would. Newcastle have won it back on the far side, with Gordon playing on the right, Joelinton left, Willock in midfield, but he can switch with Joelinton. Kelly to Hall. Joelinton comes to get it. See, they have switched now, and Joelinton a return ball to Lewis Hall. Good run. Hall taken down by Axel Disasi. 30 yards out on the left. Chris Kavanagh blows for a free kick.
Yeah, I think he can keep doing that against Dewsbury Hall because he doesn't like the track back. I mean, we've seen that in the opening couple of minutes. He just jogs into areas, Dewsbury Hall.
So free kick, Sandro Tonali, who has started as the deeper midfield player on the left, but towards the centre, or Lewis Hall. Tonali runs away, Hall curls it, goalkeeper dives, loses it. Joelinton can't get a shot away. Chelsea have the chance to clear. João Felix wins a free kick from Tonali, near to where the Newcastle free kick was taken. Goalkeeper came, threw himself across towards his left, Ando, to try and land on it, and spilled it.
Yeah, it wasn't the easiest take, to be fair to him. He's at full stretch. There was enough blue shorts there to bail him out, though.
Tonali, and he's overrun the ball as he tried to make progress up this near Newcastle left-hand side. But with 5 minutes played, it's been an energetic start, matched by the volume in the stands. They're at it tonight on the early evidence. Jorgensen for Chelsea. Emil Kraft will take a throw 10 yards into the attacking half, goes back to Cher, to Longstaff, laid off to Kraft. Gordon comes to get it and is tackled by a combination of Mudryk and Cucurella. Now Dewsbury Hall followed his manager Enzo Maresca from Leicester to Chelsea this summer after winning promotion to the Premier League. Enzo Fernandez, Tonali on his shoulder, Disasi under pressure from Joelinton, who slipped, and then Willock makes a block and it's out on the near side. Goalkeeper Jorgensen to his left, to Badia Shield. Mudryk. Referee's whistle's gone. Emil Kraft made the challenge.
Well, he's just run straight into him, hasn't he? Ball played up the line from Mudryk. Kraft, wholehearted as ever.
Forward ball from centre-back Tosin, who was a player Newcastle attempted to sign in the summer, as I'm sure you remember, went to Chelsea instead on a free transfer from Fulham. Gordon chasing, shares ball up the pitch, and Jorgensen volleys it away. Longstaff looking for Gordon, back into midfield. Mudryk for Chelsea though, over the halfway line. Longstaff wins it, tidies up, gives it to Hall, on for Willock, good ball. Tosin comes to close down. Here's Joelinton. Newcastle 30 yards out, looks for Willock, edge of the area. Badia Shield nods it back to the goalkeeper.
It's all 100 mile an hour, isn't it? high tempo to the game.
Goalkeeper puts the ball on the floor, kicks it, pings it out to João Felix. On that far side, Tonali in with a challenge. Chelsea's throw. Not only runners-up last year, runners-up in the League Cup. Chelsea 3 times in the last 6 seasons prior to this one. And they've won the competition 5 times. Longstaff, Newcastle won it back in the final third. Ball into the middle is cleared. Now João Felix on for Dewsbury Hall. Takes a touch with his left, slows everything down, slips and plays it back to Disasi 35 yards out. Renato Veiga, Portuguese international, another big lad in the middle of Chelsea's midfield. Isak's header from a Newcastle clearance. Renato Veiga scoops it over towards Badia Shiel, lifted forwards and headed on by João Felix for Mihailo Mudryk. Cucurella with an overlapping run and a dangerous ball cut back, and Renato Veiga deflected shot behind for a corner.
Oh, what a break that was. Cucurella got on his bike, got to the byline, great pull back into an area. It's taken a big deflection. Pope's not getting there. Oh. That's on target. Nick Pope's beaten.
Corner for Chelsea, which Dewsbury Hall is coming across to take. Near side, he had to retrieve the ball himself. Back to Enzo Fernandez. Cucurella on the right, rolls it through for Dewsbury Hall, who's onside. Side steps Willock, and Isak's header sends the ball behind for another Chelsea corner. 9 minutes.
Poor ball, wasn't it, Dewsbury Hall? Never got it above shoulder height.
Now it's same again potentially. Enzo Fernandez available short. Cucurella edge of the area. Now the Spanish fullback jogs into the middle. Dewsbury Hall lifts it into the 6-yard box. 2 Newcastle headers get the ball away, and it'll be a throw near the corner flag on the far side. Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 1. Eberechi Eze for Palace. Brentford and Southampton through after winning last night. Draw will be made this evening after the 8:15 kickoff. Spurs versus Manchester City. Mudryk, left-footed ball lifted into the Newcastle box. Joelinton nods it away. Enzo Fernandez has brought it down. Forwards by Disasi. Dewsbury Hall, that's a slip, not a foul. He gets back up, having held.
How many times has he fallen over?
That's 3 already, isn't it?
Yeah.
And a crossfield ball towards Mudryk is behind him and out of play in the middle of Newcastle's half. 0-0.
It's obviously got the wrong boots on.
Share up to Longstaff. First time back to Tonali. On for Isak. Tonali again. Forwards to Willock. Good play. Ball. Overhit through ball. See what he was trying to do and just roll Gordon in behind on the right. But he really gave that the hammer, didn't he?
Yeah, he got far too much on it.
Straight into the hands of Chelsea's goalkeeper.
Open game, isn't it? Stretched.
And Renato Veiga wears number 40. Chelsea playing it around at the back now. Enzo Fernandez to the goalkeeper. It's a longer ball up towards Mudryk, close to the halfway line. First time layoff to João Felix. It's back at Chelsea permanently, 45 million. He had a spell on loan 2 seasons ago from Atletico Madrid. Tosin, when he was warming up in front of the away fans at the weekend, was on the receiving end of some stick after his decision to go to Chelsea rather than Newcastle. Enzo Fernandez straight at Joelinton, but recovers to stab the ball back to Disasi. Then Willock has fouled Cucurella, and there's no advantage for Chelsea, so they have a free kick brought back by referee.
It's just sloppy, Fernandez. He's got lucky.
Joelinton with a huge chance at the back post that he managed to steer wide, and a block from Tonali at the other end on Renato Vega's shot sent it behind for a Chelsea corner. Both teams have had a big opportunity to score. At Dewsbury Hall as well for Chelsea, although it wasn't a particularly good finish. Here's Willock winning it back. Isak, edge of the area, through ball blocked, on for Joelinton into the box. Cross from Joelinton off Tosin, and it's a corner.
Chelsea just give it away at the back. Disasi trying to play out from his own 18-yard box.
Sandro Tonali for the corner kick. Lewis Hall nearby if he goes short. We'll see what Tonali can do with set pieces tonight. Joelinton and Cher and Kelly on at the back of the box. In it comes. It's a good one. It's too high though. Plenty of power and direction. Joelinton just couldn't rise high enough to meet it.
Yeah, he put plenty into that corner kick, didn't he?
At least it didn't hit the first player, which is your pet hate. Disasi on the near side, and Nkunku, the French international. Back to Renato Vega, over the top but too straight, and Nick Pope picks it up. Edge of the area, rolls it out. Look at the space for Tonali, right in the middle of Newcastle's half. Picks out a pass to Longstaff, gets it again. Kraft wide right. Gordon bends his run, trying to get away from Cucurella in the corner. Gordon's kept hold of possession for Newcastle, under pressure, and it's a throw, but it's Chelsea's ball now.
Good battle that'll be. He's like a little terrier, Cucurella. Gets himself in and around you.
They give it to Badiashile near the corner flag, and Longstaff closes down Enzo, and it's behind for a goal kick. Jurgensen, the goalkeeper, one of their many summer signings. They got him from Villarreal in Spain, where he'd been number 1 last season. But he's not first choice at Chelsea. That's Robert Sanchez, who is not in the squad tonight. Some appeals for a foul on the near side for Newcastle, nothing given. Chelsea go back to the goalkeeper. And Badiashile towards Fernandez with bright blue boots and his right wrist strapped. Back to Badiashile, now Fernandez again. Newcastle with a high press. Oh, not the best back pass towards Jurgensen, but it was a good first touch. Then the clearance towards Nkunku, heads it on.
Good win, wasn't it?
Kelly. But Newcastle in possession at the back. Hall onto Joelinton. Holds off Disasi. Still got it, Joelinton. Newcastle get a free kick. Take a close look at Axel Disasi tonight, because it was potentially an option for Newcastle at the end of the transfer window.
It's a big boy, isn't he?
He's playing at right back. They needed a centre back. Casemiro scored for Manchester United, who lead Leicester 1-0 in one of tonight's other ties. Good midfield football. Hall now out to Joelinton. Willock on the outside, approaching the penalty area. On to Joe Willock. First time cross. Chelsea with a header clear, and Nkunku's got it just outside the area. Disasi forwards. Cher coming over. Cher didn't get any of the ball.
There's a yellow card.
Says
nowhere near the ball
to the referee, but it's a yellow card.
Not nowhere near the ball. It's right in front of us.
Took out Nkunku. Lewis Hall is claiming that he got the ball.
No, he didn't.
As well.
Yeah.
It was a bit like Sunday when he went flying in towards Pedro Neto and missed it.
Got nowhere near it.
Well, Fabian Cher insists that he won the ball, but it didn't look like it.
Just seen it again.
Newcastle's captain tonight is yellow carded in the 17th minute, still goalless, and they have a free kick to defend. But it's 35 yards from the goal. Pope is on his 6-yard line. Players back to defend are in front of the D. So they haven't dropped back quite to the edge of the box. Enzo Fernandez right-footed. Fabian Schär slips, and there's a header away from Emil Kraft. Chelsea on the left wing, whipped in towards the far post by Disasi, the right fullback. Popped up on the other side. Goal kick.
Yeah, it wasn't great, was it?
Fabian Schär, ball at his feet, out to the right touchline, and a high pass up the pitch. Isak is trying to get on the end of that, and has done, and has won a throw 20 yards out. Good run by Isak, out to the wide area. Ball had gone over the head of Gordon, and he kept Newcastle on the attack. Kelly to Hall. Joe Linton's pulled out wide and has a bit of space, now closed down by Disasi. He's got the ball under control, short ball back to Lewis Hall. Kelly drops in, takes a touch, over it goes to Fabian Schär. João Felix, the closest Chelsea player, as Schär goes for one of those diagonal balls which he executes perfectly. Joe Linton down on the chest. Willock just inside the area on his right foot. Willock back to Longstaff, tried to thread it through, it's blocked. Kelly's got it 30 yards out, on for Joe Linton. Back inside to Tonali, square to Schär, calling for him to shoot, he doesn't, pushes it forwards to Willock. Now Isak looking for Longstaff, but it's cleared. Dewsbury Hall, caught by Longstaff. 10 yards from the Chelsea box. Longstaff's yellow carded for that challenge. 2 Newcastle players in the book inside 20 minutes. 0-0 though.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
Looks like he
was late.
Yeah, they banged.
He was late.
But is it knee to knee?
Shin to shin more than anything, but he's late. He just knocks the ball away from him and he's late, but I'm not too sure it warrants a yellow card.
Chelsea free kick. Tosin to Enzo, and back it goes to the goalkeeper. Jorgensen looked a bit unsure there, passes it to Cucurella. Change of pace, and he gets away from 2 black and white shirts, plays a pass to the left wing. Now Mudryk to João Felix, went for a ball over the top. It took a big deflection. Lewis Hall has got a tricky one to deal with, but he's got the better of Dewsbury Hall, got away and looked for Willock. Ball to the forward line that Willock was chasing, tossing back to Jorgensen, and Chelsea passed their way out of trouble well.
Did well, didn't it?
And Mudryk on the stretch has lost it to Schär. He's lost out to João Felix. He's got to be careful, Fabian Schär. João Felix, edge of the area, good skill, and then over the top after setting up the chance brilliantly, going inside and outside, back again. Right-footed effort cleared the top corner of Nick Pope's goal.
Yeah, Schär can't take liberties in those sort of areas. Just has his pocket pinched. Good skill, wasn't it?
Schär switches it. It's a better ball. Hall for Joe Linton on the halfway line, and Lewis Hall continues his run as Joe Linton drifts into the centre, carries it well, gives it to Willock. Over they go to Kraft, up the line for Gordon. Joe Linton on the right side, a return ball to Gordon in the corner, cross blocked, and it's a throw. Gordon leaves it for Kraft. Schär is back down the line, but a long way from him. Longstaff comes to get it, has a yard or so, and a return ball to Kraft. Newcastle want a corner, but it's a free kick for Chelsea for Kraft's challenge on Mudryk on the goal line. Five changes tonight, and the team is Pope, Kraft, Schär Kelly, Hall, Longstaff, Tonali, Willock, Gordon, Joelinton, Isak. Chelsea have got the match started again, playing it around at the back. Newcastle bench: Dubravka, Barnes, Osula, Livramento, Almiron, Byrne, Alex Murphy, Bruno and Miley. 0-0 almost midway through the first half.
Oh, he's given it away again.
It's been a bit wasteful and casual in midfield. He's played it straight against Tonali. Newcastle have it, but not really able to go forwards with it or do anything quickly. They now go back into their own half and Fabian Schär. Sean Longstaff turns. Tonali back to Schär. Not much movement. Willock wants the switch. Schär towards Tonali, but it's into the arms.
Too straight.
Renato Vega, edge of the area. Alexander Isak, they've got it back, and Isak has rolled it into the bottom corner. Chelsea gave it away, playing out from their penalty box. Tonali got onto the ball, straight through for Isak, and a one-touch finish into the bottom corner. He scored at Chelsea on Sunday. He scored against them at St James's Park tonight. 23 minutes played. Newcastle United lead 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea complaining, they're saying there's a foul in there, but playing out from the back yet again. I mean, just put under so much pressure. There's no foul there. They give it away, edge of the penalty area. Straightforward finish.
Isak into the bottom left corner of Jurgensen's goal.
But they've been doing that. They've been trying to take liberties.
His third of the season brings him level with Harvey Barnes as Newcastle's top scorer. As it stands, 2-2 for a player who had struggled in front of goal in recent weeks. Joelinton was the player that closed down or got close to Renato Vega, who we've seen it again, looks like he slips more than is fouled or in any sense.
There's no foul.
And Tonali's in the right place. I don't know if it more hits Tonali than a deliberate pass on to Isak. We need to see that bit again. But tidy finish, and Chelsea have got it at the back again, Ando, from the kick-off. Renato Vega, edge of the area, Willock on his shoulder, and he's played it against Gordon, and now it's come for Enzo Fernandez. Joelinton's won it back, edge of the area. Joelinton's done well. Now Tonali with a touch, and he's had a try! Oh! Sandro Tonali not far away from doubling Newcastle's lead moments after Isak opened the scoring.
Chelsea are unbelievable. They keep doing it. They didn't learn from giving the goal away. They've done it yet again. Good hit. Always moving away from goal.
Same situation.
Always drifting away.
Same player involved as well. Renato Vega. Now Lloyd Kelly fouled by Nkunku on the near side. Newcastle free kick on the left in the Chelsea half. Good work from Joelinton to set up that chance. Tonali off the outside of the right boot. It was bending away from the goal, but wasn't too far wide. And it's a noisy St James's Park with their team 1-0 up in the 26th minute and putting Chelsea under more pressure as they look to increase that advantage. We'll go through some other scores in a moment. Lewis Hall plays a quick free kick up the line for Isak. Edge of the area, deflected cross, header. It's in! It's in! Newcastle have got a second goal. Isak's ball in was headed on by Joe Willock, and it might have gone in off a Chelsea defender, but they just switched off. Lewis Hall saw that Isak had peeled away, free up the left side. He clipped it in, then the header on, and then a little bit of pinball near the line, and it's gone into the net. They have doubled their lead quickly. Just what they needed. Newcastle United 2, Chelsea 0.
Chelsea just switched off from the free kick. Isak's made a run. Nobody's tracked him. He's just walked into an area. Plays a cross in. Takes a huge deflection. Willock gets the header on it. It's an OG, isn't it?
Well, I think the goalkeeper has diverted Willock's header in.
No, it's not.
Or is it Badia Shield?
Badia Shield knocks it into the It's an OG.
I thought the goalkeeper might have played it onto the defender.
No.
It was a crowded box, difficult to see initially, but it's Willock's header. The cross is deflected, Willock loops the header on, and then we think Badia Shield, maybe the goalkeeper got something on it on the way in, but it's definitely 2-0. And Newcastle, through Isak and an own goal, by the looks of things, are in a great position, John Anderson.
Yeah, been a bright start. I mean, Chelsea just want to try and play out from the back. They keep taking liberties. They didn't learn from the first goal. Long may they keep doing it, because they keep doing it, they keep giving it away. And this guy on the ball has been the biggest culprit. World Cup winner Fernandes, he's given it away more than anybody.
The £106 million player, they signed from Benfica last year. It's not the record signings. That's Moises Caicedo, who's not involved tonight, at 115.
Oh, they've given it away again.
Willock in the middle of the Chelsea half. Joe Linton chests it down and goes back to Schär on halfway. Gets applauded by Fabian Schär as he receives the ball. Kraft dispossessed by Mudryk. And Nkunku back to Enzo Fernandez. And then given away. Schär has the ball back to Nick Pope. 2-0 Newcastle after 29 minutes. Eddie Howe crouching down, pointing up the line for Lewis Hall to play a ball forwards. He's given it to Joe Willock. Now Sandro Tonali. Do you feel Tonali looks more
comfortable, doesn't he?
At ease in the centre?
Yeah, he looks more comfortable in there.
Preston 0, Arsenal 1, Gabriel Jesus. And Aston Villa have equalised against Palace. John Duran. Good play on the right hand side. Kraft fouled. He's gone a long way with the ball. Good 30 yards. Yellow card shown to, is it Cucurella or was it Badia Shield?
Badia Shield.
Badia Shield. Thank you, Ando. Pushing Kraft over. It was a good run, the 1-2, and then he broke away. Had a good move from right full-back on Sunday, leading to their goal at Chelsea. Prevented from doing the same this time. Alejandro Garnacho from Manchester United, who lead 2-0 against Leicester. And Newcastle lead 2-0 here against Chelsea on BBC Radio Newcastle. BBC Sounds tonight. Remember, you can ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle. Tonali's free kick. Isak has...
goal kick. Came off him last.
They went for another quick one to try and get Isak in up the right side this time, but it ended up going for a goal kick. And it's played short by the goalkeeper to Tosin. Schär heads it forwards. Joe Linton challenging with Disasi. Got to be careful not to foul him.
No need to foul him. No need to foul him. All he's going to do is knock the ball out of play. He just runs over him.
Free kick in the right full-back position for the away side. Lost only 1 in 9, and that was at Anfield in the Premier League. Good game a week and a half ago. Axel Disasi might be the player that scored the own goal for Chelsea. As they lose it again, playing out from the back, Tonali. Joe Willock, edge of the area. Oh, it's not what he was looking to produce. It's a shot left-footed that's been dragged well wide of the goal from a great position.
They just give it away again, though, Chelsea. Fernandes again. It's a poor effort, isn't it? On his swinger.
Disasi has made a mistake and the ball's gone out for the Newcastle throw next to the Chelsea bench, and Enzo Maresca, who does all the coaching by himself, whereas Eddie Howe has Jason Tindall breaking that rule like they did for 90 minutes at Stamford Bridge, where you can't have two coaches next to each other. They're both out there. Willock, nice little shift to come inside from the left wing, and now Tonali to Longstaff, onto Isak, back to goal. Rides one challenge, ball's hit the referee, but it'll be Chelsea's ball because they had the last touch from a sliding tackle. He's given it to Renato Vega. Home fans don't like it, but you might as well give it to Chelsea there because they just give it back to Newcastle, don't they? More often than not.
I think some of them thought it should have been our ball, but definitely Chelsea ball.
Fourth round of the League Cup, 2-0 up Newcastle. We are in the 33rd minute. Chelsea with 11 changes. Here's Mudryk, 40 yards out, left wing. Black and white shirts block his route to goal, so it's back to Enzo Fernandez. Toss into Renato Vega. Square ball to the right to Disasi. Dewsbury Hall, who's got forward a couple of times, but it's had no real impact on the play. Missed a good chance at 0-0 with a weak effort straight at Nick Pope. Jurgensen to the left side of defence. Now Badiashile to Fernandez and into the box to toss in. It's a good first touch. Almost lost out to Willock, who was closing down quickly. Nkunku on the near side. Effort and desire from Newcastle to win the ball back, but Chelsea managed to break and come forwards, and João Felix into the box to Mudryk, back to João Felix. Here's a chance, and it's deflected behind Lloyd Kelly. Very important bit of defending as João Felix looked to get Chelsea back in the game.
Just so casual, wasn't it, Felix? Should have put his foot through it, tried to dink it. Good little move.
Corner on the left-hand side for Newcastle. Everybody's come back to defend. And let's see what comes of this. Chelsea players are around the penalty spot. Now they move. 4 of them go into the 6-yard box. It's dropped in under the crossbar. Pope missed it, and it hit a teammate. They have a player down, but the whistle's gone. Free kick Newcastle. Don't know if Nick Pope caught Sandro Tonali when he missed the ball. He went to punch it, which he did a lot on Sunday, didn't he? From set pieces. Oh, the balls hit Tonali.
I don't see a great deal in that.
Pope went to punch. Tonali was just hit by the ball on the side of the face and probably didn't expect it.
No.
Another goal for Arsenal, 2-0 up at Preston. Ethan Nwaneri and Leicester. I think Leicester have got one back at Manchester United. 2-1 now to Manchester United. Hall. Oh, that's brilliant. Brilliant from Lewis Hall to bring it down, find space and ping it on the diagonal to Anthony Gordon. Newcastle now have a throw on the far right hand side. 2-0 up. It's been a good night so far. Goals coming from firstly Chelsea passing it out and taking risks, and then Chelsea switching off from a free kick and scoring an own goal from the cross that was played in. Chelsea getting caught regularly.
Yeah.
Hall to Isak, but there has been some good stuff from Newcastle so far. They get a free kick. Referee waited, and then basically everyone in black and white stopped and decided to wait for the whistle as Isak was bundled over not far from the left corner of the penalty area.
Yeah, I mean, it came to Joe Linton, who just stopped. Referee was trying to play advantage, but Joe Linton decided he wanted a free kick instead, and it's in a dangerous area. Tonali and Hall stood over it.
Tottenham lead Manchester City 1-0. Timo Werner has scored that goal. Here's the Newcastle free kick. BBC Radio Newcastle, 37th minute, close to the edge of the penalty area. Tonali runs over it. Hall delivers. Sean Linton's flicked it away, and it might go for a Chelsea throw. Yes, it will. Willock couldn't get there. There's height and shape on the free kick, but just a bit too much They've won it back on the far side. Newcastle, Longstaff whips over a cross which was ahead of all of his teammates, but it's a Chelsea throw near the corner. Disasi to Renato Vega, now tossing into the area to the goalkeeper, who has a touch, then another in the 6-yard box. Newcastle standing off, he's still got it, Jorgensen. Oh, straight to Tonali, edge of the penalty area. Tonali goes wide left. They get black and white shirts in the middle. Now it's Joelinton. Onto Isak, couldn't find the return ball. Newcastle overplaying there a bit after Chelsea, and the goalkeeper, I don't know what on earth he was doing. He's got it once again, and that's a better ball to Tosin. Well, they're not changing.
No, I don't know what Chelsea are doing, full stop.
As a supporter,
I'll tell you what they remind me of.
Drive you mad.
They remind me of 2 seasons ago when Brighton came here. Remember when Brighton...
Yeah. Newcastle think they should have a throw on the far side. Gordon against Mudryk, but it's gone Chelsea's way in the middle of Newcastle's half. 2-0 up though. That Brighton match, that was when they just before the Leicester game that secured Champions League qualification. Brighton just brought everybody back and were just passing it around the 18-yard box.
They were trying to.
Yeah, kept getting it wrong. João Felix in between the lines, dangerous position. Dewsbury Hall, right corner of the area. Renato Vega gets it back from Enzo Fernandez, 30 yards out. Cucurella on, Lloyd Kelly to Sean Longstaff, Tonali to Isak, behind Gordon. Would have been a nice quick break, but the last pass didn't go where they wanted it to. Pope with a save from João Felix, who's had a good few efforts tonight, and he's tested the Newcastle goalkeeper there with a stinging shot.
Good save. That
Looked
ball
like
was
it
moving.
Bending, yeah,
that ball was moving, and he pushed it well away as well.
Badia Shield to Mudryk on the far side, scorer of that horrible goal conceded by Newcastle in injury time when the clubs met in the quarter-final last season. Mudryk came on Sunday in the second half in the Premier League. He's got it again from Enzo Fernandez. 5 minutes to half-time. 2 up Newcastle, Isak and an own goal. Renato Vega in the centre circle, just inside Newcastle's half. Chelsea with some short passes. And now Enzo Fernandez and Badia Shield. They've passed the ball to each other. Is that 6 or 7 times? Now Isak has caught Enzo, and a quick Chelsea free kick is too quick for the referee.
They just pass it to each other and go nowhere.
Well, there has to be a purpose, doesn't there? Now they've taken the free kick back towards the centre circle, forwards up the right. Dewsbury Hall. He's playing on the right of the attack, Dewsbury Hall, rather than in a central position. Here's Mudryk away from Kraft, good pace, Kraft, good recovery. Corner.
Yeah, Mudryk couldn't get the ball out of his feet, could he?
Up go the big lads. Tosin, Badia Shield, Disasi and Enzo for Chelsea. Right-footed corner from the left. Again towards the crossbar, and it's away by Newcastle. Don't think Pope got there. Lewis Hall has it. Back to Longstaff, near to the edge of the area. And Longstaff plays a sensible ball inside to Share rather than going for one of the big Hollywood passes up the pitch. Players have reset and got back into their positions. Longstaff for Tonali, back to Share. Tonali again looking forwards. Gordon's dropped in. Newcastle to Kelly, edge of the D. Hall will have it. Joelinton up the line. They miss him out and look for Willock. It took a deflection and Mudryk intercepts. It's popped up on the right side here. Mikhailo Mudryk. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall keeps Chelsea in possession, under pressure from Lewis Hall. Back it goes to Badia Shield. It's 4-1 to Manchester United against Leicester. And Nkunku, edge of the box, good first touch, drops it off for João Felix, and Pope with a save on the stretch, low down to his right.
Yeah, comfortable, wasn't it?
But how many chances has he had?
Yeah, he's had all 3. Their chances, yeah.
BBC.
This time he didn't get hold of it, did he?
BBC Radio Newcastle. Simon Proud will be here at half-time. If you want to send a message on WhatsApp, 08000 321 333, put BBC at the start, or on Twitter or X, it's at BBC Newcastle. Joe Linton under pressure to Tonali, and Hall, and now Willock involved. Newcastle lost it and then won it back, and swept over by Joe Linton to Fabian Schär. And Schär with his orange boots up the line to Gordon, who has been relatively quiet.
Doesn't look as comfortable on that right side, does he?
No. Having to do a job again, out of position. Back to Schär, clipped in behind, but it's out of play. Cucurella, quick throw. Gordon closing down. Badiashile over to Tosin, into the middle of the Newcastle half, and Kunku's lost it to Kelly, and then won it back from Kelly, who slipped. Longstaff, it's on a yellow card, he needs to be careful. Here's Mudryk, back to Nkunku in the penalty area. Tonali blocks him off. Enzo Fernandez gets it back from Renato Vega, over to Disasi, just outside the box, high cross round the back. Mudryk, they want handball, referee says no. Gordon trying to get it clear, finds Kraft. It's just got to go, and it does. Isak came short, Kraft went long.
Yeah, sensible thing to do.
Chelsea looking to get one back before half-time. Newcastle 2 goals up. Tosin to Enzo, in behind, over the top.
Awful. He's been awful.
And Nick Pope, having gone to collect the ball, now picks it up, overarm throw to Hall. Pressure on Tonali, but he'll take the ball, and now he's lost it. Newcastle, they're doing what Chelsea did earlier in the half, and Sean Longstaff, well, great work from Longstaff. He's won a goal kick, he read the danger, intercepted and played it off a blue shirt and behind.
Yeah, got himself back into a great defensive position, but giving it away in a bad area again, just inviting trouble. Been so comfortable, you don't want to give them any encouragement whatsoever.
Well, we're going to see the numbers board now to see how much time we'll play on beyond the 45 minutes. Simon Pride will also run through some of the other scores, but if you want to send a message, there's a minimum of a minute to be added about Newcastle. 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp. Just remember to put BBC at the start. Willock forced out, and that's Chelsea's throw. Willock, he's taking a bit of a knock there. Looks like a sore one. He's limping, but
don't know who he's taking the knock off though.
Back in play, Joe Willock. Cucurella has come into the middle of midfield. Enzo Fernandez, square ball along halfway.
Here you go again, look at 5-yard balls. Give it to me, I'll give it back to you. Let them do that all night.
Mudryk, time for one last attack. 10 seconds remaining of the minimum additional period. Tonali intercepts Longstaff. Isak looking for Gordon. Oh, the defender's missed it. Anthony Gordon getting away into the final third. Willock in the penalty area. Isak as well. Gordon. Oh, and Willock backstick couldn't connect properly. Massive chance. Great break by Gordon to extend Newcastle's lead right at the end of the first half. Chelsea just got in a muddle, and Gordon was away, and there's no catching him. Into the box he went, but lashed it over.
There was too much on the cross, wasn't there? Too much pace in it.
And Willock off the outside of his left boot and behind.
Badiashile, I mean, he just lets the ball run under his feet. but it's been so comfortable.
It has been comfortable. It's 2-0 to Newcastle United. Alexander Isak with the first. The second was an own goal by Chelsea. And they've had other chances. Chelsea have had their opportunities as well.
Yeah.
But the 2 goals Newcastle scored, they came because, number one, Chelsea made a mistake passing it around, and 2, they then switched off from a free kick.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't learned, Chelsea. I mean, they keep giving it away on the edge of their own penalty area. It's been Fernandes, who's, he's not a young boy, he's an experienced player, but he's probably been the biggest culprit. He keeps giving the ball away all the time. Chelsea keep persistent trying to play out. They keep giving it away, keep encouraging us to get at them, showing us all the encouragement in the world. The second one's unbelievable. I mean, he just walks into an area, Isak, nobody goes with him at all. It's absolutely schoolboy defending. And obviously it's an OG at the end of it, but it's been comfortable. They've had 1 or 2 chances. Felix has been the main threat. He's the one that's had them all. He's good little bit of skill that he's hit one over the top. Other one was a comfortable save. But they haven't shown a great deal going forward. At half time, you'd say that we're in a commanding position because it's been very comfortable. It really has. Chelsea have passing little 5-yard balls between each other, just knocking it and getting back, not looking to get forward, and they keep giving it away. So long may that continue.
Second half commentary coming up here on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. At the break at St James's, Newcastle United lead Chelsea by 2-0.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Big news in the northeast this morning. The Rothbury estate has been bought by a group of wildlife charities. And on the phone is Mike Pratt, the Chief Executive of Northumberland Wildlife Trust. This is exciting, isn't it, Mike?
Fantastic, isn't it? I'm absolutely bursting with excitement. I've got an empty champagne bottle on the table. It's fantastic. I mean, it's once in a generation. And I think we're just really fortunate that this massive opportunity is happening in Northumberland.
You can hear my full chat with Mike on BBC Sounds. If it's happening in the northeast, we're talking about it on your breakfast show. I'll see you tomorrow.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle.
And this is Simon Pride at St James's Park, where Newcastle United lead Chelsea by 2-0 in this Carabao Cup last 16 ties. So advantage very much Newcastle. I'll run through some of the other scores in just a tick. Spurs have just taken the lead against Manchester City as it happens. John Anderson is still with me to reflect a bit more on that first half. Those 2 quick fire goals, that own goal from Disasi following Isak opening the scoring, Ando. Do you know what the most surprising thing about that half was from my perspective? It took you as long as, I think, the 37th minute to mention Brighton a couple of seasons ago. I was thinking exactly the same. I thought, I know what he's going to say here. I know what he's going to say, because they just kept doing it.
Yeah, they just keep doing it, and they just keep giving it away. It's. And I said it when Brighton were here. If it's not working, why do it?
Yeah. I guess
they keep persisting.
Changing game.
They keep persisting, but Fernandes keeps getting it. He keeps giving it away in midfield. They're not.
He's not the only one. He's not the only one. The keeper doesn't look comfortable particularly, does he?
No.
Vega doesn't look particularly comfortable. And
none of them look comfortable at the back, getting on the ball and trying to play. The only one that looks comfortable on it is Cucurella.
Yes.
But the 2 centre backs don't look comfortable at all.
They don't. No. So that's something he'd have to look at in terms of changing personnel. I'm not sure what he's got on the bench that he can change it with, but he might have to do that. Or if he's going to carry on playing the same way, well, Newcastle will fancy they can get more goals.
Yeah, if Chelsea keep playing the same way, you would imagine that we would get more goals, because they're just encouraging us all the time. They're offering us all the encouragement in the world. We just need to keep doing what we're doing, keep putting that press on when they try to play out from the back, keep pinching it, and more chances will come along.
Isak with another goal. What did you make of his overall contribution? Because some people are saying he's not looking the same player.
I think he's done all right. His movement's been good. His work rate's been good. I mean, he's just walked. the second goal, he's just walked into an area.
Good thinking, but nobody watched him.
Nobody within 10 yards of him. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the ball gets played across. Obviously, he ends up in an OG. But yeah, I think he's done all right tonight. I think his movement's been really, really good.
Anyone else stood out for you at all?
I think Tonali looks more comfortable in there in the middle of the park. I think Sean Longstaff's done well.
Those two have worked quite well together.
Yeah, they have. And Joe Linton on this left side, just being Joe Linton,
yes.
Big and strong.
Well, it's a good battle between him and Disasi, actually.
Yeah.
Two big lads.
Yeah, it is. And the one thing I would say is, I don't think Gordon looks as comfortable on that right-hand side.
No.
But he's still putting the shift in, but he doesn't look as comfortable on the right as he does on the left.
We'll see if maybe he gets a chance to switch in the second half at any point. Ando, I'll let you go and get your half-time cup of tea. Thank you very much indeed. John Anderson, former Newcastle United fullback, he will be with me also at the final whistle. And so you can send us your reaction. 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp, 81333 on text. Start your message with the letters BBC. Let me just tell you what's been happening elsewhere then in the League Cup this evening. And Liverpool have taken the lead at Brighton. They're into the second half there now, because that was the early kickoff, the 7:30 kickoff tonight, and Cody Gakpo has scored at the beginning of the second half for Liverpool, so they lead Brighton by 1-0. Aston Villa won, Palace won at half-time. John Duran equalising, starting a game for once rather than coming off the bench to make an impact for Villa, equalising after Eberici Eze had scored for Crystal Palace. Quite a game to greet the post-Ten Hag era at Old Trafford. Manchester United 4, Leicester City 2 at half-time at Old Trafford. Casemiro with a couple for Manchester United. Garnacho and Fernandes also on the score sheet. Bilal El Khanousi scoring for Leicester, and Conor Cody as well with another one in the 3rd minute of first half stoppage time for the visitors. So 4-2 there. Arsenal lead Preston by 2-0 at Deepdale. Preston, the last non-Premier League side left in the competition, and it looks like that won't last much longer. Gabriel Jesus scored after 24 minutes, and then Ethan Nwaneri after 33. Arsenal comfortable at Preston, 2-0 up. And Timo Werner has scored for Spurs. This is the late kick-off, the 8:15 kick-off. Spurs lead Manchester City by 1-0. Elsewhere in the Scottish Premiership, Celtic 0, Dundee 0 at half-time. Dundee United 1, Motherwell 1. It is Hearts 1, Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 0, Hibs 0, and it is St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 1. Aberdeen have scored against Rangers, so as things stand, Aberdeen going back to the top of the division, they lead Rangers by 1-0 at Pittodrie. So that's you up to date then with all the other scores from England and Scotland. Let me just tell you a little bit about something else which has happened in terms of women's football today. UEFA has promised to commit £830 million to the game over the next 6 years to make it the most played team sport by women in Europe. UEFA say they want to make Europe the home of the world's top players, with 6 fully professional leagues and 5,000 fully professional players across the continent. Nadine Kessler, UEFA's managing director of women's football, says it's an important development for the sport.
Well, our strategy is called Unstoppable, and I think the name really speaks for itself. It's going to be not a nice shiny document that we use for promoting how well we have done with women's football, but really it will set a pathway for Europe for the next 6 years.
And England's women beat South Africa 2-1 in their friendly in Coventry last night. Their goals scored by Leah Williamson and Grace Clinton. The England manager Serena Wiegman says there were some sloppy errors from her side which they need to cut out.
Of course we want to take that out. We're really aware of that. But we also have to move on. That's also part of the game, but you want to take out the turnovers that are really unnecessary and unforced. We move forward, and the next game we're going to do it better again.
Now some concerning news surrounding the Durham and England all-rounder Ben Stokes, who says that a masked gang burgled his home when his wife and 2 children were there. This while he was in Pakistan for the recent Test series. The 33-year-old said his family did not come to any physical harm, but a number of sentimental items were taken. Stokes posted pictures of the missing items, including the medal for the OBE, which he received in 2020. And yeah, he lives in Castle Eden in County Durham, and said the incident occurred on the evening of the 17th of October. Elsewhere to rugby union, and the Newcastle Falcons begin their Premiership Cup campaign this Saturday away to Caldy, who are bottom of the Championship. Now we'll have full match commentary via the BBC Sport website and app with Dean Gray and Pete O'Brien. Dean has been talking to the Falcons Consultant Director of Rugby, Steve Diamond, who says that they will perhaps unsurprisingly be making changes to the side.
We're resting some players moving into the Prem Cup who have played many minutes. There's some players who aren't being rested. So lads who've been on the bench will be starting. You know, we're going to have a go at this competition. It builds momentum and it builds spirit, and we can practice things that, you know, we probably wouldn't be able to do against the Premiership side. Up in the tempo, for example.
Cloudy bottom of the Championship, so I think we played them last season and won 66-13 before you were in situ. So you'll be expecting good things from that game. Or what do you know about Cloudy? Do you know much about them in terms of the way they play?
Yeah, I know a lot. I know the lad who coached them. Matt Cairns, he played for me at Sale and at Saracens. Good coach, works with very little resource, but gets a really competitive team. I think they got beat by Coventry last week by a couple of points only. Great place to go. One of the Northwest sort of clubs that is a proper club, you know, runs teams, mini sections, etc., and fight above their weight in the Championship. So it'll be a hard game. It won't be a walkover, and our boys have been put on notice of that this morning. There'll be more than a small crowd. There'll be 3,000 people there, I reckon. They get big crowds for these because they look at the competition. They're playing against the big boys and want to do a giant kill, which we don't want to happen. And let's be honest, you know, the size of the other squads, they'll be putting very strong teams out in the Premiership teams, and it's, you know, not often you can win something, and you know, let's have a pop and see where we are after the first 3 games, and then it also gives us some games during the Six Nations windows. So yeah, we'll be having a go.
That was Steve Diamond speaking to BBC Radio Newcastle's Dean Gray. As I say, commentary of that match via the BBC Sport website and app this Saturday. For the Autumn Internationals, the England head coach Steve Borthwick says his side needs to make a good start to their match against New Zealand at Twickenham on Saturday, given the quality that the All Blacks have. England are continuing their preparations for the game.
And the skill level they have, the speed they have, the players need to be alive for every moment. And I think what our supporters have seen over this last period of time, this is how much this England team, this young England team, the supporters see how much the players care. We want to put in a performance on Saturday that demonstrates all of that.
One other latest scoreline to tell you about in the Northern Premier League East Division half-time: Heaton Stannington 0, Sheffield 0, a stalemate so far in that one. We'll let you know how things have gone there. Spurs have scored again against Manchester City. Sarr with the second goal of the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So Spurs 2, Manchester City 0 now is a latest score, which is interesting as things stand. It could be a very interesting draw for the quarter-finals of the League Cup. Will Newcastle United be in it? So far so good. Second half to start shortly. Let me just give you one more piece of news before the end of the interval. A plan to invest £35 million of government funding into grassroots cricket to help revive the game in state schools is said to be severely under threat after today's budget. A source close to the ECB has told the BBC that the pledge made by former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak in April is susceptible to fiscal cuts. Payments made to the ECB from that initiative was stopped shortly after July's general election, with no indication when they might restart. Let me just quickly remind you of the other scores in the League Cup this evening then. Liverpool leading Brighton by 1-0 on the south coast. Villa 1, Palace 1, Man United 4, Leicester 2, and Arsenal 2 up at Preston, and Spurs leading Man City by 2-0. The second half due to get underway shortly here at St James's Park, with Newcastle leading Chelsea by 2-0, and Ando and Reza will take you through that second half in just a moment.
Half-time highlights.
Total Sport Northeast.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Renato Vega, edge of the area. Alexander Isak, they've got it back, and Isak has rolled it from their penalty box. Tonali got onto the ball, straight through for Isak, and a one-touch finish into the bottom corner. He scored at Chelsea on Sunday. He scored against them at St James's Park tonight. 23 minutes played. Newcastle United lead 1-0. Up the line for Isak. Edge of the area, deflected cross, header. It's in! It's in! Newcastle have got a second goal. Isak's ball in was headed on by Joe Willock. Lewis Hall saw that Isak had peeled away, free up the left side. He clipped it in, then the header on. Newcastle United 2, Chelsea 0.
Total Sport North East.
The EFL Cup.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Newcastle lead 2-0 against Chelsea. No changes at half-time. And we're about to get underway for the second half on BBC Radio Newcastle, BBC Sounds and NUFC TV. Black and white stripes against the blue of the visitors, and Newcastle are kicking up or down towards the Gallagher end to the right-hand side in the second half. They've given the ball away though through Gordon on halfway, and João Felix has run past Tonali, and a shot at the edge of the area blocked by Fabian Schär. Header on by Newcastle. Chelsea back to halfway. There's another chance for Chelsea's Portuguese forward, João Felix.
Doesn't like to pass it, does he? When he sees them goals.
Hogs it in the final third. Wants to get his shots off. At Newcastle, Pope, Kraft, Schär.
Oh, he's given it away again.
And then Tonali dispossessed, just slow to release it, and collided with Cucurella. João Felix has passed it that time. Fabian Schär's won
Straight to Fabian Schär.
Come back to the 11s in a moment. Schär running right through the middle of Chelsea. Could play in Gordon. Cucurella, brilliant defending to get back and scoop it clear. Schär, maybe, I don't know if the pass was under hit, but it was the right ball to play. And Gordon was very close to being in one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Right, Pope, Kraft, Schär, Kelly, Hall, Longstaff, Tonali, Willock, Gordon on the right, Joe Linton on the left, Isak at centre forward. Tonali playing in the centre of the midfield three. Sean Longstaff winning it back from Mudryk in midfield. Emil Kraft up the line to Anthony Gordon. Chance to run. Broke away at the end of the first half and powered over a cross which Joe Willock couldn't convert. Sean Longstaff just outside the box. He's got limited options. He's found Joe Willock, and it's backwards away from Lewis Hall, but Newcastle are going to keep possession. Now Lloyd Kelly. Chelsea, Jorgensen in goal, Disasi, Tosin, Badiashile, Cucurella, Enzo Fernandez, Renato Vega, Dewsbury Hall, João Felix, Mudryk and Nkunku. 5 changes for Newcastle, 11 for Chelsea. Gordon fouled by Cucurella. Newcastle's bench, Dubravka, Barnes, Osula, Livramento, Almiron, Byrne, Alex Murphy, Bruno and Miley. And Chelsea subs, 2 goalkeepers, Bettinelli and Bergstrom, Colwill, Madueke, Chukwuemeka, Palmer, Chilwell, Cassidy, Guiu. Liverpool 1-0 up at Brighton through Cody Gakpo. In one of the other ties tonight, Chelsea back to the goalkeeper, Gordon pressing, oh my goodness, Jorgensen turned away and looked like he slipped, but recovered well, didn't he? With a turn, and Gordon ended up in the back of the net, but sadly the ball didn't. Isak's kept it in on the near side. Chelsea appeal for handball. Isak with a cross, oh, didn't quite reach Willock. Tosin with an important header clear. Well, there could definitely be more goals in this for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon with a trip on Mihailo Mudryk. Sean Longstaff might need some treatment, so the referee stopped the game. What about that from the keeper? Because although he styled it out and did well, it looked like he was getting it wrong and was about to give Gordon a tap in on the line.
Great skill though, wasn't it?
I think we want to see it again before we review it, but Philip Jorgensen beaten twice, nearly beaten for a third time.
Yeah, but they haven't learned, have they? Don't panic. Don't panic.
Liverpool have got a second goal in their match against Brighton. Cody Gakpo scored again. Here Newcastle 2, Chelsea 0. 49th minute. United defending at the moment. And it's Mudryk. Left wing, drifting infield, 10 yards. Enzo Fernandez threads a ball through for Cucurella, squares it. Nkunku, what a block, Lloyd Kelly. The second time tonight, Kelly has done some brilliant work to stop Chelsea as Joe Willock goes on the charge. What a run from Willock into the penalty area. It's fantastic from Willock. Now the cross to Isak, brought down beautifully but away from goal. Tonali, edge of the area. Hall goes for the shot, and Jorgensen stays low down.
Good save.
Firmly struck by Hall, held by the keeper. But Joe Willock, he'll be absolutely
That's what he gives you, though. He gives you legs in there. I tell you what, those three in midfield have given the manager something to really think about for the weekend, because the three of them have been excellent tonight.
Far more energy about Newcastle's midfield play. But Joe Willock with a great run up the pitch into the box, and then he found Isak with the cross. The first touch was really nice, but it just took him away from goal. There was the presence of a defender as well, and it ended up with the Lewis Hall shot that was saved. Good football by Newcastle. 2-0 up against Chelsea. Cucurella, João Felix, space left side of the penalty area. Kraft forces him away from goal and wins it back. Emil Kraft with great defending, and now Gordon away from Enzo Fernandez and from Cucurella. Needs some support into the Chelsea half. Still Anthony Gordon. Nutmeg on another defender. Then he's caught Cucurella, and he's going to get a card. It's a booking for Gordon. Didn't appreciate Badia Shield giving him a shove. Joe Linton getting involved, pushing. Enzo Fernandez now trying to be peacemaker. Joe Linton trying to help his teammate. Chelsea players getting angry. Fabian Schär, Newcastle's captain, trying to calm things down. Alexander Isak likewise. Joe Linton, he's possibly in danger of a yellow card.
Just walk away.
So Gordon booked for the challenge. It was a bad one actually, because he got away well, just didn't have the option of a quick ball, an early one in behind, and then he lost it, and frustrated.
I don't think you can have too many complaints.
Not being able to finish that move off. Went right through Cucurella, didn't it?
Yeah.
Chelsea from the free kick over to the near side, out of play.
Vega and Fernandez in the middle of the pitch have been...
Kraft back to Schär. Away it goes. Isak trying to lift it on to Gordon. Disasi to Renato Vega. Badia Shield forwards. Cucurella is left back, but at the minute he's left centre forward. Mudryk in the box. There could be trouble here. Squared towards Nkunku, who lost his balance. Longstaff brings it out to the near side. His first clearance is blocked. It's back to Kraft. Now Gordon. Back to Longstaff. And up into midfield. Chelsea have it. Badia Shield onto João Felix. Kraft to Joe Linton. Willock. Oh, they've got two on the left-hand side. Hall and Joe Linton into the final third. Isak in the box. Hall. Oh, the cross is deflected and into the hands of Jorgensen. It was a promising position, and a shame that the cross, from a Newcastle point of view, didn't find its target at the back post. Isak.
Yeah, good break again. Hall showing good energy, got himself in up that left hand side, just galloped away. Unlucky with the cross because it just took a big deflection.
Mudryk drops his shoulder away from Gordon into the area towards the back post, but nobody there in blue. Joe Linton up to Isak, takes it, holds off his man, turns, and can't find Willock, who'd made the run into the space and would have been in the clear had he received it. Mudryk again, edge of the area. Chelsea trying to come back into it, still 2-0 Newcastle. Mudryk gets it back from João Felix. Dewsbury Hall clips it up high to the back post. Cucurella's header, it's dropping for Enzo Fernandez. Sandro Tonali with a block at the edge of the box. 55th minute. Bruno, Almiron, Osula warming up. Chelsea have got 5 subs on the touchline. Pope comes from across, it was played into the middle, punches it away, and Dewsbury Hall's follow-up is blocked by Lewis Hall, and Nick Pope heads it out to prevent a corner and then kicks the ball away because it bounced off the advertising board and was going to enable Chelsea to take a quick throw, and he's been yellow carded.
Plenty of yellow cards, isn't it?
In the meantime, Lord Kelly's gone down and needs some treatment. Dan Burns sent to warm up.
I don't think he needs treatment. He's got himself to his feet.
I'm saying it's one of those tactical stoppages that Eddie Howe has been accused of implementing.
Are you talking about the dark arts again, are you?
The dark arts, they never really admitted to employing them, but we all know they do, as do most teams. 2-0 Newcastle. Mudryk on the left wing, Kelly's back up. They were almost in real bother when Pope pushed the ball clear and Dewsbury Hall was lining up the shot. Enzo Fernandez. Square ball to Disasi. It's behind, away from João Felix. There will be a Chelsea change in a moment, and it's Noni Madueke, another one of their players linked to Newcastle in the summer. Good player, started the season well, played on Sunday. Sandro Tonali out off Mudryk from Kraft. Here's the change, and it's Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, who's not had any real impact, the former Leicester player. Noni Madueke. It's positive change from Chelsea. Gives Newcastle something to think about.
I thought Hall did very well against him on Sunday.
Yeah. He's playing well, Lewis Hall. Joelinton to Sean Longstaff, who's got away from Enzo Fernandez. Well played, Longstaff. Really good work. And now on the far side, Newcastle with Gordon. Switch with Joelinton for the moment. Gordon back out on the left, gives it to Willock. Now Tonali to Willock again, and wide to Gordon to take on Madueke. He's cut inside, gone back on the outside. Now the chance to deliver, laid off to Tonali. Hall has it, takes a touch, sticks the cross in. It's away from Joelinton. Emil Kraft got the last touch, trying to keep it in. It's going to be a Chelsea throw at left back. Arsenal, who come here on Saturday lunchtime, are 3-0 up at Preston. Kai Havertz has scored. Cher chests it, pushed by Nkunku next to the Newcastle bench, and free kick for United. Joelinton's on the right wing, Gordon's on the left, and he'll be happier over there, Gordon.
Gordon's done well, but he doesn't look as comfortable on that right side, does he?
I would also really like to see what he can do up against Disasi, scorer of the Chelsea own goal that made it 2-0 to Newcastle, and that's how it remains, because I think Gordon could have a lot of success based on what we've seen tonight. Possession for Chelsea in the middle part of the pitch. Cucurella forward, Cher away from João Felix. After the Portuguese had the first touch, but then lost it. It's Badiashile to Tosin. Renato Vega. Badiashile back to Tosin. Gordon closes down Disasi, he's pushed it away. Kelly challenges with João Felix. Madueke on the far touch line. Back to Disasi. Newcastle forcing Chelsea backwards. And now Tosin on the edge of the area, across to Badiashile, who's got more space. To central midfield to Renato Vega, who signed from Basel in Switzerland in the summer, 12 million. Another long contract, 7-year deal. And Nkunku on the chase, edge of the area, into the box. Share with him, makes the sliding challenge, perfectly executed, and a corner on the far side.
Yeah, good defending.
William Osula comes sprinting back to the bench, and Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall want a word. Yeah, he might be coming on. An hour played. In swinging left-footed corner, Isak heads it over at the near post.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy one. A lot of whip on that.
And Madueke to try again. Livramento and Barnes warming up with Almiron as Osula gets some instructions. Chelsea pack the 6-yard box. Another left-footed corner. Pope with another punch. Mudrik's header down. Cucurella 5 yards outside the area. Back to Mudrik. Clips it in there. Kelly heads away. And Madueke keeps it in near to the touchline, taking on Gordon. Gets away from Gordon. Goes down. Referee tells him to get up.
He's kidding himself. He should be booked for that.
Long ball up to halfway by Newcastle.
He should be booked for that.
Toss into Enzo Fernandez. Wonder if he would bring it back next time the ball goes dead. They lead 2-0, hoping to be in tonight's draw for the quarter-finals. Those matches in the last 8 will be played in the week before Christmas, or about a week before Christmas, 17th and 18th of December. Badiashile in behind for Mudrik. Mudrik plays it back to Nkunku, who's miskicked it. Cucurella blocked by Joelinton, and then headed wide just in front of Pope. Goodness me, Nkunku got back up and might have done better with that header, as Nick Pope was waiting for the ball to drop following Joelinton's block on Cucurella's effort.
Yeah, good ball in behind, wasn't it? He's got a run on Joelinton. Mudrik.
Right, there's some changes for Newcastle. Joe Willock is coming off. He's done a lot of good things, Joe Willock. Things they don't have when he's not in the team.
He's been good. Gives you that option, gives you something different.
He's going to be replaced by Bruno, and Alexander Isak is also coming off, with William Osula on for his 5th Newcastle appearance and 3 very late Premier League outings as a sub for Osula, and a start against Wimbledon in the last round where he didn't see a lot of action in terms of being involved in the game. He's got half an hour tonight, and what they've done with the midfield, Ando, is they've left Tonali and Longstaff where they are, and they've put Bruno to the left of Tonali.
Yeah, I just think Tonali's looked so much more comfortable in there. He's been more involved as well, hasn't he?
Remember, Bruno didn't start as the deep midfielder when he first came to Newcastle. He got forwards, he scored goals. Now he has scored goals from a deeper position as well, but let's see how he does in this different role. Osula won a header straight after coming on, but was adjudged to have committed a foul. Chelsea have it from a free kick in the middle of the midfield, and Mudrik away from Joelinton, who's tripped him.
Needs to be careful.
And Chelsea have a free kick. They've taken it from completely the wrong position. Referee's fine with that, and Cher heads away from the cross into the box, and Chelsea have a corner, and that was a good few yards infield from where the foul took place. So
you've never seen that done before?
No, but the referee was happy just to let them do it. Well, I mean, look where Mudryk is. Got to play
but because he's there, it doesn't mean that's where the foul was. He's rolled, you know.
Yeah, but I thought he was out in the wide position. And he took it from infield quickly. Ball might have been moving as well, but they get a corner from it, from the cross. Joelinton header, and that's an attempt to keep it in.
Corner
from Madueke, and the referee and assistant say it went behind off Newcastle before Madueke touched it.
Had more of the ball second half, haven't they, Chelsea?
That looked like Madueke carried it out, but corner it is, flat to the near post. Behind again for another one.
It was a poor corner. It was a poor good corner, if you know what I mean, because it's so flat and there's a lot of whip on it, and it's come off Nick Pope at his near post.
Same side, left-footed. Again, it's a busy 6-yard box. Drop towards the back post. Pope on the stretch. Catches. Newcastle 2, Chelsea 0. And down at the moment is a player in black and white, Emil Kraft. Jason Tyndall talking to a member of the medical staff. Kraft is back up, he's okay. Simon Adingra has pulled one back for Brighton against Liverpool. 2-1 Liverpool. Villa 1-1 with Palace. Now Manchester United 5, Leicester 2. Arsenal 3-0 up against Preston, and Spurs 2, Manchester City 1 in the 8:15 kickoff. After that one, the draw will be made. Madueke spins away from Hall. The cross is overhit. There was nobody there. Joelinton, he's given it straight to Cucurella, inside to Enzo Fernandez, close to the 18-yard line. Osula forces him away from goal. Good work from Osula. Desire to get back and close down. Madueke again got the better of Hall on the previous attempt. This time it's a pass inside to Disasi, robbed of possession by Bruno, and Osula making the run through the middle. Bruno's got space in midfield. The pass though is between Osula and Gordon, and Chelsea back to goalkeeper Jorgensen. Did it need just a better ball, whatever a better ball looked like, Ando?
It's asking a lot of the boy. He's up there all on his own. 3 blue shirts around him. The quality of the ball's got to be better to give him any sort of chance at all.
BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. We're here till 10 tonight. Send us a message about the game. Put BBC at the start, and our WhatsApp number 08000 321 333. Enzo Fernandez switches the play. Madueke's layoff is heavy and it's gone back towards the halfway line, where Disasi gets it under control. Inside to Tosin. He was on the bench on Sunday. Very much one of Chelsea's second squad players that features in the Cup and Europe. Through ball from Tosin, cleared by Hall at the edge of the area. Had a couple of opportunities in the second half, Newcastle a couple of moments, but it's been mostly Chelsea with possession as they try to get back into the game, and they've had a lot of play in the final third, the away side. Enzo Fernandez lifted into the box. Kelly chests it down. Cher passes it to Hall. Got it caught under his feet. Looked for Gordon, who'd gone away. Disasi intercepts Mudryk's header. And now Hall with a chance to clear. It's played against Madueke, and Pope dives at the feet of Madueke and Disasi and comes up with the ball, Nick Pope.
Yeah, good goalkeeping, isn't it? I mean, Hall gives it away. Ball's played in. Ball ricochets all over the place. Good decisive goalkeeping, wasn't it? Decided to come,
ball was always going to be his.
He's gone for a huge throw towards Gordon, who was just inside the Chelsea half. It almost reached him, but Renato Vega cut it out with a long leg stuck up into the air to bring it down. Crystal Palace 2-1 up at Aston Villa now. Enzo Fernandez back into the centre circle to big toss in. Disasi. Newcastle with the 2-0 lead that they have had since the middle of the first half. Renato Vega 5 yards outside the area. Madueke whipped ball in, left-footed. It's given them more quality and more threat, but Newcastle have dealt with it. Bruno to Tonali, and now Kelly. Ooh, inside to Pope and away from the keeper towards Gordon. Out off Disasi. They've come away from danger well, Newcastle. Tino Livramento is about to come on, and Luis Diaz has made it 3-1 to Liverpool at Brighton. We're also going to see Dan Burn as a substitute. A ball back to Pope from the throw, and he sliced it out of play. Chelsea's ball midway through Newcastle's half. Another double Newcastle change about to be made. Badia Shield. We're in the final 20 minutes. Joelinton has dispossessed Mudryk. Made it look easy. Strong play. Now up to Osula. He's come out to the right wing and found Joelinton with a return ball. It's all a bit tight, but Joelinton's again competitive play in midfield keeps Newcastle in possession. Tonali to Bruno, swept over to Gordon, brought down on his chest. 30 yards out, Anthony Gordon comes inside, laid off to Bruno, space for Hall, Longstaff in the middle. Tosin stuck out his leg and flicked it away.
Went anywhere, couldn't it?
Dangled a leg and cleared it just. Joelinton in particular and Osula doing well in the build-up. Now Kelly getting the other side of João Felix and pulled down by the Chelsea forward near to the goal line. Free kick. Here's the next double change. Lewis Hall coming off with Dan Burn coming on.
Livramento's coming on as well. Livramento got the left back, you would think, wouldn't you?
Well, Livramento's replacing Anthony Gordon, so are they going to a back five?
Possibly.
Because you wouldn't fancy Kelly at left back up against Madueke, and what about Burn? Or they are going to put Kelly to left back.
Now they're going to three at the back, aren't they?
So Livramento and Kelly look like they're going to be wing backs. Kraft, Scher and Burn as centre backs. Tonali, Bruno, Longstaff in midfield, Joelinton and Osula. Although if it's a 5-4-1, you've got Longstaff right, Joelinton left, Osula, who's just been fouled by Badia Shield. Newcastle get a free kick in the centre of Chelsea's half. Will be a lone striker. Great reception for Lewis Hall and Anthony Gordon on their way around the pitch at the Leazes end. And they applaud the supporters in return. Fabian Schär has come jogging over to see Jason Tindall. They're leaving the free kick to Tonali, 35 yards out, slightly right of centre. 2-0 up Newcastle. Jason Tindall has a lot of responsibility when it comes to set pieces and the planning of them. Hall and Gordon almost back at the Newcastle bench as Tonali curls it round to the far side. Schär heads it over. Sean Longstaff! Sean Longstaff denied by an offside flag. Almost a birthday goal for the midfielder. Free kick, clever from Tonali. Schär back across. Longstaff's header at the Gallagher end ruled out for offside.
Yeah, it was a good free kick. I was going to say, we don't score many from free kicks. Then when we do get one, it's disallowed.
Well, we haven't seen the replay, but it would presumably share around the far side. The ball may have gone forwards to Longstaff in an offside position, so we'll wait to see. But it remains 2-0 to Newcastle. BBC Radio Newcastle, and tonight we're live on BBC Sounds. Bring every Newcastle United game exclusively live. Burn in behind Chelsea, and it's dragged wide by João Felix as Burn, stretching, couldn't cut out the through ball. Felix ran behind him and onto the pass, clipped it away from Nick Pope, but wide of the keeper's right hand post. It's a let-off.
Yeah, Burn just didn't get there. Got to score, hasn't he? Got to score. He's the one that's had all the chances. Hasn't been able to take any of them.
Well, shortly after Newcastle had a goal disallowed for offside, there's João Felix with his opportunity again for Chelsea.
Sean Longstaff's offside.
Well, Cher isn't. Longstaff looks like he is from the ball back over. And I'll preempt you, but he didn't need to be. No. Either. And again, when it came across, he was completely unmarked, but there were two of them as well.
Yeah.
Longstaff and another Newcastle player nearby. Livramento to Longstaff, back to Livramento. It's going to go out. I think he's played
Unlucky.
well tonight, Longstaff, hasn't he? Tariq Lamptey's pulled one back for Brighton. Liverpool now lead 3-2 in that cup tie. It's at the Amex Stadium, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tonight. They play each other in the league at the weekend. So like Newcastle and Chelsea, they'll meet a couple of times in the space of a few days. Pope towards Burn. Kelly up the line to Joelinton. Chelsea have won it back, then lost it. Bruno holding off Renato Vega, winning a free kick. Bruno. Renato Vega just a bit too close to him. And St James's Park chants the name of the Newcastle captain. Bruno on as a substitute. Burn to Pope. Tonali back to the goalkeeper. Cher wide right. Kraft's available. Cher clips it up to Osula. Oh, brilliant from Osula, holding up Badiashile, holding the ball and laying it off to Bruno. Did very well. Now can Bruno pick out a pass? Yes. Wide left. Joelinton. Kelly there for support, but it comes back inside to Bruno. Exchanging passes with Tonali. When is that? Is that 4 each? Short balls, a bit like Chelsea were doing in the first half. Back to Cher. Kraft. Livramento chasing this ball, dropped in behind by Kraft. It's a good one, and taken under control by Tino Livramento into the corner. And the attentions of Cucurella were enough for Livramento to lose his balance. Chelsea have taken the throw, and Enzo Fernandez tackled by Osula inside the area, but he's got away with it. And out off Mudryk. Referee was going to blow for a free kick,
and then he gives us a throw in.
And they've gone with the assistant's decision of throw.
Mudryk's been as weak.
Enzo Fernandez in the box. Osula tackled him. He fell on the ball, got up and got away with it. Newcastle 2, Chelsea 0. And they've had a goal disallowed as well for offside. Into the box towards Osula. Picked up by Jorgensen. Has to be settled tonight, as League Cup ties, apart from the semi-final now, are. Newcastle looking good, no extra time in these games. Won their last 5 at this stage, Newcastle, including last season at round 4 when they went to Old Trafford and beat Manchester United so memorably. You enjoyed that one? Manchester United away last season. 3-0. Cucurella for Chelsea. 30 yards out, Renato Vega back to Badiashile. Miguel Almiron coming back to the bench. And if they'll make another change, there's a slip at the back from Tosin. Gave Osula a sniff, but the Chelsea defender recovered in the nick of time. Has it again. Enzo Fernandez back to Tosin. 80th minute on BBC Radio Newcastle. Lots of energy and desire about Newcastle tonight, all through the night. Badiashile to Cucurella, back again. In the middle of midfield, the Chelsea centre-back with every black and white player behind the ball. Tosin up to Nkunku in between the line of midfield and defence. They've got it back, Longstaff for Bruno. A couple of Chelsea players tried to bring him down, and then Nkunku does. And Newcastle have a free kick next to the centre circle. With 10 minutes to go, John Anderson, what's your reading of where the game is at?
Chelsea have had plenty of the ball second half, haven't done a great deal with it. I think we've been solid. I think the players that he's picked went out and did a job. I think he's got decisions to make for the weekend.
Madueke for Chelsea on the right wing. There was a groan because Cher fired a ball at Livramento that he couldn't control. Cross into the penalty area. Kraft's header, Longstaff to Bruno. Bruno's turned. Referee's going to bring it back. And Enzo Fernandez is on the floor, rolling around, holding his face. I don't know if he's given a free kick or he's just stopped it for a head injury or a suspected head injury. What did you see in that, if anything?
There's nothing in that.
Any contact at all?
No. You see players do it all the time. It infuriates the life out of you as well.
Chris Kavanagh, the referee, will say he's obliged to stop the game if a player has any possibility of a head injury. He's given the ball back to Newcastle. Dan Burns launched it up the pitch, caught by Chelsea goalkeeper. So there Newcastle lose their possible advantage that they had when Bruno was on his way forwards. Mudryk from halfway, back it goes. Tossing into Newcastle's half. Enzo Fernandez, high cross. Cucurella header, Longstaff nods it away. Osula, knocked down to Kraft, stomped it clear. Badiashile miscontrolled, but he's got 20 yards of space behind him, so he's all right. Nobody nearby in a black and white shirt, and offside against Chelsea. João Felix.
Cucurella was offside.
83 minutes have been played. There's still time for things to happen, but it's been a much better night, hasn't it? A much better performance, taking into account change of competition, all the Chelsea changes, but still with some big names out there. There's been a lot to enjoy from Newcastle compared to what we've seen in recent weeks. Lloyd Kelly's just given the ball away, and Emil Kraft stepped in to win it back. Brilliant from Kraft, absolutely brilliant. He's beaten his man and found Osula at the edge of the area. Good turn by Osula, gets the shot off, he's hit the post. William Osula has hit the base of the post. Left-footed effort from the edge of the penalty box after a brilliant run from Emil Kraft to set him up.
What's Mudryk doing? Kraft's sharp, but Mudryk is just waiting and waiting. You can see why so many of these Chelsea players aren't in the first team.
And on the evidence of tonight, they're not going to get into it. They're not going to get in either, no. Cole Palmer remains on the bench. They've made one change, haven't they?
Yeah.
Just with Madueke.
Well, he's probably said, you got yourself into this mess, you can go and try and get yourself out of it, but they've never looked capable of it.
We've got other young players on the bench, like Mark Guiu, who they signed, striker from Barcelona in the summer. Carney Chukwuemeka, who was at Aston Villa, once scored a FA Youth Cup hat-trick here against Newcastle.
Yeah, remember that.
Very highly rated.
Yeah.
Can't get in the Chelsea team, 21 years of age. Cesare Casade, who played for Enzo Maresca on loan at Leicester last season, on the bench, not coming on. Cross from the left, headed away by Fabian Schär. Thought he might have used his squad even more, but Newcastle still lead 2-0. Goal disallowed, they've hit the post. Bruno, brilliant from Bruno, linking up the play, beating those in Chelsea blue with some short passes around his opponents and a foul on him. Played a 1-2 there with Joe Linton, skipped away from João Felix, who's been yellow carded and looks like he's in a really bad mood after the night he's had with the chances he's missed and now the yellow card.
Yeah, he's had a couple of chances, hasn't he?
Liverpool have won 3-2 against Brighton, so they are through. A team to go into the hat. Hopefully Newcastle will join them. Hopefully they'll avoid them in the quarter-finals. Bruno to Joe Linton. And back again in the corner on the left, Newcastle. Bruno tried to take on his opponent. It's come back to Tonali. Do you think they have to start with Tonali in the centre and maybe Bruno
he just looks
to the side of him on
He just
Saturday?
looks so much more comfortable.
Which may have been... Oh, Livramento evades the challenge of Cucurella, skips inside. Still going, Livramento. It's ended up on the floor. Referee says play on, Newcastle have the ball, and he's not going to bring it back, so they're just going to have to continue with the game.
I think he's got decisions to make, because the three midfielders that he started with, were excellent.
But had Bruno gone in the summer, Tonali would have just gone into that spot in midfield, wouldn't he, in the centre. Bruno's the captain, Tonali's back from suspension. Maybe this is how they play effectively together. Newcastle on the attack. Livramento, Joe Linton in the area. Oh, he's overhit it. Livramento got too much behind it. Played it at an angle between Chelsea defenders. Saw the run.
He was so unlucky.
But just needed to take a little bit of the power out of the pass.
Just a little bit too heavy.
87th minute on BBC Radio Newcastle. 2-0 up. João Felix, goals from Isak on 23 minutes, and then an own goal from Disasi of Chelsea 3 minutes later. Longstaff's had one ruled out for a header which was offside. Osula's hit the post after a brilliant move. Chelsea still pushing to get one back. Mudryk on the outside of Livramento, cross to the back of the box, too high from Madueke, kept alive by Disasi, back over to the near side, touched Mudryk, and he got the last touch, and goal kick.
Cucurella got the last touch.
Sorry, Cucurella.
His header.
Yeah, Mudryk tried to keep it in. Our number for messages about Newcastle United. It looks as though they're going to go into the quarter-finals of the League Cup for the third season running. 08000 321 333. That's the WhatsApp number. Send us a message, put BBC at the start, or on Twitter or X, it's at BBC Newcastle, which is also where we'll put our post-match reaction. Chelsea with Tosin and Badiashile, lack of communication. They've given the ball back to Newcastle in midfield. Nice one-touch play. Bruno away from Renato Vega. Bruno Guimaraes to Livramento. Back to Bruno. Oh, he's miscontrolled. Bruno near the penalty spot. Miscontrolled it, and Chelsea clear. Kraft now to Tonali. Livramento for Longstaff, who can turn in the area. Longstaff's cross is looped up off the defender, and Badia Shields headed it out, and Tonali lets it come for a throw. A minute of normal time remaining. Newcastle 2, Chelsea 0.
Yeah, just so comfortable, hasn't it? I mean, Chelsea all the ball second half, but never looked capable of getting anything out of it.
Livramento gets it back from Longstaff, puts the cross into the box, half cleared by Chelsea. Now Bruno, dispossessed by Cucurella. Renato Vega to Enzo Fernandez. Newcastle with players getting back. Lloyd Kelly chasing after the ball, which has found Noni Madueke on the right. Now Madueke trying to cut into the area on his left foot, blocked by big Dan Burn. Bruno wants a free kick for the challenge from Tosin, doesn't get it. Renato Vega. Nick Pope gets down low to push the ball away. Good save.
Yeah, it was a good save. Bounced just in front of him. It was one of those awkward ones, just bounced in front of him, got strong hands on it.
Kelly wins a throw with his clearance going out off Madueke. Jason Tindall wants one of the substitutes to come back to the bench, and it's, I think, Lewis Miley who might be coming on. Harvey Barnes is warming up too. 3 minutes of additional time, the minimum that will be added to the end of the game, with Newcastle 2-0 up. A Chelsea through ball collected by Nick Pope, who touches it with his right foot and now is running with it around the penalty area. Picks it up as João Felix comes to close him down. They're going to try to get...
This is a big result for Eddie Howe as well.
Needs it.
Yeah.
The run that they've been on, and with the Premier League, the defeats by Brighton followed up by the defeat in the match away at Chelsea on Sunday. Obviously they played well against Manchester City, but they should have beaten Everton. So to have progress in the Cup is really important as they try to sort out their league form. But the timing of this game meant that they really had to get a positive result, and they've had a big performance as well, haven't they?
Yeah, this guy coming off, Tonali's been excellent. You know, he just looks so much better in that central midfield area.
But he's not the only one in black and white that's played well. Players that have come in and performed, but as a unit, as a team, it's more like the Eddie Howe Newcastle that we know, isn't it?
And that's the... You've hit the nail on the head when you've said unit. You know, it's not about, it's about partnerships, and that midfield three worked really, really well. It's going to be really interesting to see what Eddie Howe does for the game against Arsenal.
Lewis Miley is on for his first appearance of the season. An injury at the end of last season, then he broke his foot while running in the summer, trying to get fit for the new campaign. Made his debut at Chelsea a year and a half ago, and now he's on in the 92nd minute. Might play on for another minute here beyond the 3. Newcastle leading 2-0. They have a free kick close to the touchline on the near side. Kraft back to share. They put Miley in the middle and kept Bruno to the left, so I wonder if that's with a view to Saturday, and just have Bruno in that position. To be fair, he's been involved and on the ball quite a bit, and he can make things happen in attack. Bruno, as Joelinton gets past his man, and Joelinton strides forwards and charges towards the box and beats another. Joelinton, Tino Livramento, blocked by Cucurella. Don't know if it was a cross or a shot, but it was on its way into the middle. Here's Miley, back to Livramento. The 3 minutes are up. Newcastle go into their own half. Chris Kavanagh blows the final whistle. It's been a big night for Newcastle United and for Eddie Howe. An excellent performance and a result that has taken them into the quarter-finals of the League Cup again, and the dream of a return to Wembley and some success is still alive. 2-0 the score. Alexander Isak in the 23rd minute after Chelsea gave the ball away on the edge of the box. And then when they switched off 3 minutes later, Chelsea, from a free kick, played up the line to Isak, deflected cross headed on by Willock, and then an own goal from Disasi. And although Sean Longstaff had one ruled out, William Osula hit the post. There was no further change to the scoreline. It's just been a night where fans will go home happy. Eddie Howe, I'm sure, will be relieved. Players will be satisfied. Just so much to be positive about John Anderson, and of course the fact that they are into the last 8 too.
Yeah, look, it was very comfortable. I mean, once we went 2 up, it was really difficult to see how Chelsea were going to get back into it. They had plenty of the ball second half without ever really doing much with it. Never really asked too many questions. Felix had the best opportunities. He probably had their only opportunities, to be fair, and he didn't take advantage of them. I think there's a lot of thought for Eddie Howe over the next few days as well, because he made changes. You know, we talked about making changes, and if the change comes along, you've got to be prepared to go and take that opportunity. And I think the players that came in tonight did take that opportunity. I thought Sean Longstaff was excellent in there. I thought Willock, the length of time he was on the pitch, gives you a totally different dimension. And Tonali just looks a totally different player in the middle of the park.
Looks like he can run the show from that deeper central midfield position in a 3. There's been a lot of debate about the midfield.
But I tell you what, the other one who was, you don't mention, but just does it time and time again, Emil Kraft. He was excellent again tonight. You know, he never put a foot wrong.
Defensively, and also that run, which was phenomenal. They almost set up Osula for the goal. Never lets the team down, does he? 5 changes from Eddie Howe. 11 for Chelsea. They used their squad. Eddie Howe gave some opportunities, and players who've come in might well have taken them. We'll see what he does on Saturday against Arsenal. 12:30 kickoff. We'll be live on BBC Radio Newcastle from 11:30 ahead of another huge match, but they'll go into it with a much better feeling after a big result, their first win since they beat Wimbledon in the last round of the League Cup, and they're into the quarter-finals. Now the draw's going to be made after the conclusion of Spurs against Manchester City, which was an 8:15 kickoff, so it will come later tonight, but Newcastle definitely in the hat, and Southampton and Brentford from last night. Liverpool are through as well. Quarter-finals played in the week beginning Monday the 16th of December. Players doing their lap of the pitch to thank the fans for their support. Newcastle United, it's been a good night, a big performance and result. They've beaten Chelsea here in the 4th round of the League Cup by 2-0.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Big news in the northeast this morning. The Rothbury estate has been bought by a group of wildlife charities. And on the phone is Mike Pratt, the Chief Executive of Northumberland Wildlife Trust. This is exciting, isn't it, Mike?
Fantastic, isn't it? I'm absolutely bursting with excitement. I've got an empty champagne bottle on the table. It's fantastic. I mean, it's once in a generation. And I think we're just really fortunate that this massive opportunity is happening in Northumberland.
You can hear my full chat with Mike on BBC Sounds. If it's happening in the northeast, we're talking about it on your breakfast show. I'll see you tomorrow.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle.
So the Newcastle players and the coaching staff right in front of me here at St James's Park walk off the pitch applauding as they go. They're in the quarter-finals of the Carabao Cup. They have beaten Chelsea by 2-0. My name's Simon Pride. I'll be here with John Anderson until 10 o'clock this evening. So if you would like to have your say, 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp, 81333 on text. Start your messages with the letters BBC, and I'll put some of those points that you raise to Ando between now and 10 o'clock. Lots to talk about from the game, as Ando says. Maybe a few players there giving Eddie Howe some food for thought in terms of his next Premier League selection, but also what do you make of the fact that Newcastle are now into the quarter-finals of the Carabao Cup. We'll find out who they'll be playing in those quarter-finals around about 10:15 tonight, following the conclusion of the late game, the Spurs Man City game. But who would you like in the quarter-finals? who could you have in the quarterfinals? Well, here's what's happened this evening. Remember that Southampton and Brentford both progressed last night. Tonight, Liverpool won 3-2 at Brighton. A couple of goals for Cody Gakpo. All the goals, by the way, in the second half at the Amex. Cody Gakpo with a couple, Luis Diaz for Liverpool as well. Adingra and Lamptey, the goals for Brighton. Crystal Palace have won 2-1, perhaps a little bit surprisingly, at Aston Villa. Eberiche Eze scoring first for Palace, John Duran equalising, but then Kamada, the Japanese player, getting the winner for Crystal Palace on 64 minutes, so they are in the quarter-final draw. Manchester United have beaten Leicester by 5-2. Erik ten Hag no longer there. He, of course, won this competition with Manchester United, beating Newcastle in the final 2 seasons ago. But in the post-Ten Hag era, which has just begun, Manchester United beating Leicester by 5-2. A couple for Casemiro, a couple for Bruno Fernandes as well. Garnacho on the score sheet with El Kanous and Conor Cody scoring for Leicester. But Manchester United are through. Arsenal are through as well. They have beaten the Championship side Preston, the team that knocked Sunderland out of this competition, of course, by 3-0. Gabriel Jesus after 24 minutes, Ranieri after 33 minutes, Kai Havertz on 57. So comfortable for Arsenal. And Spurs and Manchester City, they kicked off later. They kicked off at 8:15, so still around about 20 minutes plus stoppage time to go there. But at the moment, Spurs lead Manchester City by 2-1. Werner and Sarr, the goal scorers in the first half. Mateus Nunes equalising in first half stoppage time. We'll keep an eye on what's going on there. So as things stand, Southampton, Brentford, Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool and Palace join Newcastle in that draw. It'll be either Spurs or Manchester City to complete the draw. And Ando, before we analyse tonight's game a little bit more, who would you be fancying out of that lot? All Premier League teams, of course.
I think anybody here. I think you'd want a home draw.
Don't give me anybody. You'd rather than Liverpool or Arsenal, you'd probably rather have Brentford or Southampton, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but I think Arsenal and Liverpool will play young sides as well.
Still do that, yeah.
You know, so yeah. Look, you would, I suppose, if you want to pick anybody, you would probably pick Southampton because they haven't won a game all season.
Yes, I mean that would be the obvious, the obvious choice, and yeah. Newcastle beat them in the semi-final, of course, 2 seasons ago as well. I'm just, as you speak to me, just having a look at the Arsenal team for tonight, and yeah, of course, as you would expect, well, they made quite a few changes. Some pretty recognisable players there as well. Like, the forward line of Sterling, Jesus, and Martinelli. So it would be a tough test against any of the bigger sides, even playing. I think not quite their first team.
I think the one thing you do want is a home draw.
Yeah.
You don't want to be travelling away. You would fancy your chances against anybody here.
Yes.
But
yeah, you say Southampton, but you wouldn't want
you wouldn't want to be going down there.
A couple of weeks before Christmas, having a trip down to Southampton in midweek, would you?
Definitely not.
So we'll see. But do get in touch with whoever you would like in the quarter-final draw. As far as tonight's game was concerned then, I guess Newcastle were always going to expect to have to withstand a bit of Chelsea pressure in the second half, but they withstood it pretty well on the whole, didn't they?
I mean, you're saying Chelsea pressure. I mean, Chelsea had an awful lot
possession.
Of the ball. Yeah, they had an awful lot of the ball, but they didn't do a great deal with it, Simon, to be quite honest. They played on the edge of the penalty area. Felix probably had their best chances. I suppose the best chance was in the second half when Dan Burn fails to cut out that through ball, and he gets through and he dinks it past Nick Pope, but it goes wide of the right hand post. That was probably the biggest danger they had in the second half for all the possession that they had. I think we were disciplined. I think we kept our shape well. As I said earlier to Razor, I think the boys that came in, the changes that he made, I think worked really, really well. I think he's given himself a little bit of a dilemma at the weekend. It'll be interesting with Arsenal coming here on Saturday lunchtime to see what way he goes.
Yeah, you said during commentary of the midfield, those three have given him something to think about. And there's a different dynamic, wasn't there? I think Willock being the one that probably stood out just because of what he gives in terms of making those long bursting forward runs, of which we saw a couple tonight.
Yeah, and look, Sean Longstaff comes in for a lot of criticism, but yet again tonight I thought he played well. And I think Tonali in the middle just looks so much more comfortable. He looks assured. He just looks as if he knows what his job is in there, and I thought the three of them played well. And again, I said to Razor, the one who came in and did an unbelievable job again from a defensive point of view, Emil Kraft. Solid.
Yes.
Nothing flash. Just gets on with it. Just does his job. I thought he was excellent.
Yeah, he tends to impress. He's consistent as well. You don't see him flapping much. And you say nothing flash, but there was that remarkable run towards the end when he almost set up a third goal.
I mean, Mudryk's waiting for half an hour for the ball to come to him. He nips in, takes it off, and goes on that run. But his overall play, defensively excellent. Used the ball nice and simple. Passed it to the nearest black and white shirt. He won't play the weekend, you know what I'm saying? At least I don't think.
But you'd have no problems if he was thrown in.
None whatsoever.
He's certainly shown tonight again exactly what he can do. He's a Swedish international quality player. Razors off getting some reaction now. You'll hear that tomorrow morning when you wake up on BBC Radio Newcastle, part of Matt Bailey's breakfast show, and of course tomorrow night on Total Sport when we will analyse the game further. I wanted to ask you about Lloyd Kelly as well. He impressed me. Good blocks, throwing himself into challenges, a decent game generally. Looked confident at the heart of Newcastle's defence.
Yeah, he's got a bit of pace. I thought he started a little bit sloppily.
There was one. He gave the ball away twice. Very early on.
But I thought he grew into the game as the game went on. Do I think he'll play at the weekend? Probably not. I think Dan Bourne will probably come back in to partner Share again. But yeah, he did okay. He as I say, the longer the game went on, the better he got.
Let's read some of the messages that we've received. Remember, here are the numbers: 08000 321 333. Start your WhatsApp with the letters BBC. Use those same three letters if you text on 81333. Jamie's listening at work in sunny Queensland.
Oh, very nice.
Very nice indeed, yes. Sounds like a great game. He wants to know, is Longstaff the answer in midfield? I'm not quite sure what the question is, Jamie, but I mean,
I'm not sure Longstaff's the. Look, this is something that we've discussed long and hard on Total Sport. It's about the balance. It's not about saying that players aren't good players. Individually, they're good players.
Yeah, so it's finding the best balance.
Finding that best balance
and the best roles.
And the balance looked better tonight.
So you had, you had the three kind of different roles. Longstaff, Willock, and Tonali all had something different to do.
They give you something different.
So there's a blend there.